This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 835 for the week of Monday, September 23rd, 2024. My name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
And my name is Alex.
And on today's episode, we have very special guest, translator for One Piece in Weekly Shonen Jump and Manga Plus. We have Stephen Paul with us. How's it going, Stephen?
Thank you. Thank you for remembering the title. I saw that instant of hesitation there.
No, I just saw Jammer's face first, so I was going to
What did I
introduce
do?
him first.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You did nothing yet.
Yeah.
But
Jammer's here too, everybody.
we'll get the Jammer, the person who has opinions that everyone on the internet definitely endorse. Also author and very long time friend of the show. How's it going, Jammer?
It's going well. This is weird because I think I've moved 3 or 4 times since I've been on a podcast with Steven. And so hi Steven, podcast.
That's how I mark
with you again.
That's how I mark eons in my life.
Jammer's not on Podcast Mountain
Yeah.
anymore.
Oh, you're not in Colorado
I know
anymore?
I am.
Oh,
I'm back to
yeah.
Podcast Mountain.
Oh, thank
Oh.
God. Okay. Where
Well,
were you
thank
in the
God for
meanwhile?
that.
If
I've
you
been
don't mind me asking.
from Colorado to Indiana to Washington State back to Colorado.
Wow.
I forgot about Indiana.
Same part of
There's no
Colorado.
excuse for living in Indiana.
We don't want to dox you or anything, but
I was at South Bend, Indiana, over at Notre Dame area.
Is it doxing if it was a previous location?
I guess not.
I can give out my address if that would help.
Yeah, go
People
for
can
it.
people can find
Yeah.
the tracks and follow them.
Well, I'm not gonna like a mountaineer. I'm just thinking.
Yeah.
I think a Jammer's been here. And last but certainly not least, YouTuber, I believe on Twitch as well. Mel is joining us again. How's it going, Mel?
Hello. It's going very well.
How's I know you've been. We were talking about this before we started, but you've been up all night One Piecing, I hear.
Yes. The One Piece chapters come out at 1 a.m. for me, 1 a.m. Australian time. So I have to stay up. I'm a dedicated One Piecer. I have to stay up to read them the second they come out. And it's terrible when it's a chapter that takes my interest because then I'm up all night, unable to sleep, thinking about the chapter. It's terrible.
It's a very busy chapter.
It is a very busy chapter, in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll get there. So yeah, Mel, what have you been? It's been a little bit, right? I think last time were we talking about Sanji in? If there's definitely we were talking about Sanji.
We're probably
get straight-
talking about Sanji. Yeah, I made a promise to myself: leave Sanji out of it this podcast because I
No.
have to. I have to
No, we
back
can't
away
do
from
that.
him sometimes. I got Sanji tunnel
Sanji's back
vision.
in form this chapter.
Yeah, Sanji's in good form this chapter. You shouldn't be backing away from Sanji this week. But I think we
know.
were in. I think we were like at the reveal of Egghead, like around the York reveal. I think was
Yep.
around where we were just to give. So that was a while ago in the
That
manga.
was a long while ago. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What
A
have
lot
you
has
been up
happened
to?
since then.
Yeah.
Just making content on the daily content grind as always. But now I'm currently making a series of arc recap videos. And by that I mean I'm going through each arc. I've just started, so I just finished East Blue. And they're going to be very extensive because I've been reading through Alabasta now. Because I have always been a firm believer that One Piece is so much better when you reread it after a new arc because you catch so many
Yes.
more things that Oda is trying to like bring all back together. So going through the East Blue after how many years of One Piece, it's just crazy to have to like, see everything culminating, I suppose. But it's going to be
My nephew's been able to experience that for the first time. So he's started reading from the beginning. He's up to volume 63 now.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah. His first time through the series. So
Is he
He's
enjoying
got a
it?
long way to go. Only volume 63.
Yeah.
Poor soul, he's in Fishman Island.
Mhm.
yeah, he's head down there, yeah.
that's for sure. But I'm very jealous that you have the time and ability to do that. We used to have the time and ability to do that, not as much recently. But
And his teacher is very impressed. He keeps a reading log. He reads more than anybody else in his class. Because these books
because
count.
it's One Piece. Oh, it does.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But if they only counted by series, he'd be in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to those because I agree with you. The arc, the rereads are always. I mean, Stephen, you're in the middle of yours, I know too. I mean, has the Egghead stuff really change the way you see the series going?
Yeah, I know you just got through Dressrosa recently.
Yeah. Right. I'm just at the end of Dressrosa right now in my reread, and the Kuma stuff is definitely fun. I mean, that's definitely the big thing that you can, see a lot of the foreshadowing and stuff. Things that didn't really make sense the first time around that make a lot more sense in retrospect. So yeah, always worthwhile.
I always wonder how much is retcons versus like planned from the beginning, and we'll never know. That's the
We'll
thing.
never know.
We'll never know.
Unless you
I
wants
mean,
to
it's a
tell
skill
us.
of a good mangaka is learning how to
Yes.
improv on the spot.
Yes.
Exactly,
One thing
yes.
I hate, that a lot of people that hate, I have strong opinions apparently. I throw out a
We
word hate
know
like
you
that.
have strong opinions.
One thing I despise about people.
What I don't like is when people say like, "Oh yeah, you have to have a plan in order for something to be worthwhile." I'm like, yeah, it helps, but being a good improver is huge, and obviously in this, profession as a mangaka, it's huge as well.
Well, it's being a good writer in general, isn't it? You always have to have a spine and a base, but no writer plans every single thing because you have fun while you're writing. So then you kind of go off and go around, and it's about how you can work around that and make everything come together. And Oda's very, very good at that. Even if I don't know how much he planned, it feels like he's very good at that.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's funny because I have a running theory about the One Piece live action in that I don't think they're going to adapt. I don't think they're going to end up adapting every little thing just because I think. Well, yeah, but also Oda, had this 5-year plan at the beginning, and he clearly has added stuff in as time has gone forward. Like the supernovas, for example, weren't even part of this, like
The
from its
Warlords.
inception. Or even the Warlords, yeah. So I think it's interesting that they could go the route of something closer to his original timeline, or maybe I'm just being optimistic because it would work better for TV that way. But
Speaking of the live action, though, we got some news this week.
Thank you. Wow, Steven's good at these segues.
Wow.
So we have 3 big pieces of news. First is in casting. We know everyone knows them by these names: Mr. Zero and Ms. All Sunday. I'm gonna get to pronounce this.
Joe Manganiello.
Oh, thank you, Ed. Thank you for saving me. That was a life raft. Just
I've been
throwing
pronouncing
straight
it
in.
Manganiello for all
That's
these
what I
years.
was thinking.
Me too.
Yeah,
He was in Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire.
He was Flash
he
Thompson,
was.
Yeah.
and he's also
Uh,
Deathstroke, right, Jammer? In the
In
Justice, well, he's
the
supposed
Justice
to be.
League movies, or
Yeah,
Zack
he-
Snyder's
both
Justice League,
versions.
Yeah,
When I-
I think
when
he
I
was supposed
told
to be
My
Deathstroke in like the Ben Affleck Batman.
Yeah, that
Right.
was what the Justice League post credits was building up towards, was the Ben Affleck Batman that never happened.
Ben
When I-
Affleck, Banatman. I like it.
Ben
When I told my wife the news, she was like, "Oh my god, from True Blood."
Yeah,
and
that's
I was
the
like,
thing.
"Oh, yeah, all the moms are ready. They are ready for this."
Oh
To be
yeah,
Joe
fair-
Manganiello. He was also in Magic Mike, right?
I never.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also, he's in
I
Magic
think
Mike.
you're
I've
right.
never seen True Blood, but I know. But I've seen the guy, and he's built like a brick shit house, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's a good physical cast. I think as is Miss All Sunday. Her
Yeah.
Lyra Abova.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just reading her Wikipedia because I'm doing my research here.
He's Russian, right?
Yeah.
Yes, from Siberia. But it says specifically, there's this whole paragraph here about early life and career. She liked to wear a pink Pokemon t-shirt and had, quote, crazy long hair. After learning German, she made many friends and continues from there. But I
think she's a good facial match, but she's apparently not very tall.
am, well, look,
Robin's average
size-wise,
height, yeah.
height is
Yeah.
never going to be canonical in that series.
Also
That's true.
heels. You can wear heels. She's supposed to be in the new. I'm not gonna say Coen Brothers movie because they're not working together anymore. But the new Ethan Coen movie, Honey Don't, which is pretty cool.
There you go.
Seems to be a very, at least new in the I guess English speaking stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing her role as well. By the way, Joe's previous Magic Mike and Magic Mike XXL roles was as Big Dick Richie. So
Oh, now he's going to be Big Cock Croc.
Oh, episode title. Joey's gonna have a great time with that one.
I think they should take all live action actors from Magic Mike, actually. I think that might be a good thing to do in the future.
Channing
I
Tatum.
agree. Yeah, they really should have started that way, though. I think they've
Exactly.
missed the boat.
Channing Tatum as Doflamingo. I'm calling it now.
That'd be fun.
That would
That'd
be
be really fun.
That's spot on, actually. There,
Cast Kevin Nash as Kuma.
actually,
like that. That's one for Steve.
as a good segue there, who would they cast as Chopper in that circumstance?
Ooh,
Oh, God.
wow. Well, we don't even know what the
Don't
deal
wanna
with
think
Chopper
about
is
that.
yet.
Yeah, we got the tease.
So what do we know? What do we know?
We had a teaser behind the scenes thing. They showed the table read, which I assume they were not able to do for season 1 because of COVID, or at least in any like physical setting. You could already see, I think they're really enjoying those restrictions not being there this time around.
Did you all see the supposed Chopper audition leak where
The
somebody
audition?
was
No.
dressed
you mean,
as
is it a fan made?
I don't know. It was it made its way around social media. I think Sam posted it in the Discord or something, but it's got like somebody wearing like a Chopper sort of. Remember the show Wienerville where they just had like human heads and then there was like a puppet body out like on the outside? Does anybody
No.
remember Wienerville?
Nope.
Oh my god.
No.
Uh,
Sorry.
Has anybody seen Tron? Like Jesus. Anyway, it looked like I don't know, like putting your head inside of a like there's a puppet body just sort of around there, but it's like human face with makeup on. That's what the audition seemed to look like. If
There's
this
no
is
way that's real.
indeed real, I don't know if it's real or not. That was kind of funny looking.
Oh, no.
What do we actually know?
Jammer posted it. And we'll put it in the description.
Well, what we do know-
Actually, we won't put it in the description because no one
What we
should
do
see that.
know is whatever we see at the end of that teaser, which could be Detective Pikachu style CG or it could be
Right.
a puppet. I can't really tell because of the lighting.
That looks
Um,
Detective Pikachu style to me.
I was leaning
Yeah,
toward
it looks
that. That's
very
what I think it is.
CGI in my opinion.
Yeah, the way it moved, the
The
very
ears.
very brief. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's also a teaser. I really wonder how close to the final product that
Right.
would actually look.
I really
It'd
hope
be
he's
like
ugly.
Golem in
Chopper.
Fellowship of the Ring. Or
It's
Well,
something.
they
not
made
going
it-
to be ugly.
not-
It's not going to
not
be
that
ugly,
ugly.
Chopper, unfortunately.
Not Gollum.
Not that
ugly,
ugly, Chopper. Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's going to be Oda's live action Chopper drawing. Can never forget that.
but- Oh yeah, I like that.
I
Though.
wonder if they're going to use like facial capture for the actor though,
You know, that's a good point.
Yeah.
because if it's going to be the janky facial capture or the post Planet of the Apes refined facial capture.
Seeing as Netflix, probably the former. I don't know if they
I
have the
was gonna
budget
say.
for the latter. Those
They
Planet of the Apes
are-
movies are fucking great, though.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I mean the way that the series has worked is, yes, it's a lot of money, but you feel the penny pinching some of the time. So I wouldn't be all that surprised, but I'm hopeful. I still want a Muppet. I don't think it's happening at this point. Not a
No.
puppet, but a Muppet. It looks like that is not happening.
Just
and
get
I'm gonna-
Fozzie as Chopper specifically. That's it.
Like, you want Fozzie to dress up as Chopper.
Exactly.
But
Muppets are actors; they need work.
I appreciated the fuzzy reindeer antlers and all that. Yeah, check it out. I know the One Piece Netflix accounts have been posting that. And there was also a thing, I think there was that separate tour, like behind the scenes tour with Jeff Ward, Buggy's actor, which was also both amusing and a lot of it was blurred out. It's there. I think
Lot of dicks.
Dill, a lot of that. Well, Crockett's coming, you know.
yeah. Joe
Yeah.
Manganiello.
Yeah.
Big Dick Rick.
You know, I'm going to move on. So today, we have a manga recap of chapter 1127, and this is one of our rare chapters that starts adventure in the land of mystery. We don't even know what the land is. It's just mysterious.
I could have put money on Land of Giants, honestly.
Yeah, that would, the Land of Giants or Lego or Babes in Legoland. If that doesn't end up being a title of a chapter,
2 exits
Then-
to Legoland.
Babes in Lego.
that was Steve's. I give credit to Steve there. So we have that. We have we have an anime recap of, I think it's 1120, right? And that's, I watched that episode, Steven, after you posted that Doflamingo did the ridiculous walk thing.
yeah, the Seraphim Doflamingo.
Yeah, the Seraphim Doflamingo did that, like, that ridiculous walk. that he
Ministry of
does.
Silly Walks.
Yeah, it kind of
Exactly.
does. Yep.
He's from that ministry. He's head of that ministry, I think. But yeah, that was a very good episode as well. A lot of Sabo and Sabo's new actor. and then we have Piece Together, and then we're rounding off. If you haven't, please check us out, patreon.com/One Piece Podcast. We have alternate images, alternate titles. We have the entire Forced to Watch 4Kids series, which is Alex and Steve going through the 4Kids dub, which continuously feels like it's in the zeitgeist in some form or fashion. So check out that. It's really good to hear about it.
And then go listen to Steve's new podcast, The 4Kids Flashback with Tara Sands.
That's some good segueing too. Thank you, Ed.
Yeah.
And yeah, check all that out. And yeah, I think we could probably get on with the show then. Everyone ready?
Great.
Okay.
This is the manga recap for chapter 1127, Adventure in the Land of Mystery. You can read this chapter and all chapters as soon as they come out from shonenjump.viz.com and mangaplus.shueisha.co.jp. Before we actually get into it here, though, I want to mention that despite it tricking Mel and Alex and the rest of us, what Shonen Jump and Manga Plus have said, there is no chapter next week. And so you could look forward to a new SGS with Steven and Greg next week.
That's right.
Lovely.
Yeah.
You'll love to see it, folks.
Yeah. And Greg said 100% certainty that that's going to happen. So you know who to blame if it doesn't happen.
That's right.
Oda. You blame Oda.
That's right.
Ed, what's going on the cover page?
Sure, Zach. This is Ogre Child Yamato's Golden Harvest Surrogate Pilgrimage, Volume 15. The kidnappings weigh heavily on Dogstorm, the daimyo of Curry. So these are the kidnappings of the Soba groupies that were mentioned on the cover of last week's chapter.
And
so yeah, he's making a very concerned face about it.
And probably Minatomo too, since we know he's missing. So presumably he's also been kidnapped.
Whose sword is that?
Right.
I don't know, but Yamato had it last time as well.
Isn't that
It looks familiar.
Swords that Yamato's supposed to be bringing to?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. That's the whole point of this journey.
Not Enma, the other one. Tenma.
No. Ame no Habakiri.
Yeah.
Habakiri, thank you. Renma, yeah.
That one's got a white sheath though.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Completely. And they're also eating
Is
onigiri. So how perfect for the
Yum.
well,
Is
I guess
this the first time that we've gotten Dogstorm's new title?
Yes.
I believe so, yeah. We didn't know that before.
Curry is Odin's former
Yes.
territory, right? I just am making sure I'm not getting them conflated. What's the one that the hedgehog who died?
Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Oh, Yasue, yeah.
Yasue's. What's his again? It starts with a K too, right? Am I losing it?
Ibi? No.
I don't
No,
remember
Kibi
which
is
one
right?
he was.
Ringo?
Ringo. That does not start with a K.
Hakumai?
Oh no,
That
it's
is the other
Hakumai. I think you're right. I think it was Hakumai. Ringo was the winter one, I think, right? Anyway.
I do like the nepotism at play here that Momonosuke went on to be shogun, and so he gave his old job to his pet dog.
Good boy.
Yeah, he is a good boy.
Yeah, he is a good.
So Dogstar he is the peg leg of the pirate manga.
Yeah.
So this looks like it
Him
looks
and
like the
Zeph.
bottom of a sheath of a sword here. The peg
Yeah.
leg.
Well, because he
does.
has a sword.
Oh, you're right. He has a sword there.
He normally has a sword, but now he's got a sheath for
Yeah.
it, which is fun.
Like Shiki.
Yeah.
His leg is
Yeah.
sword.
His face is beard.
Well,
Right.
his legs are
He does
sword.
have a beard.
for
His face is
Shiki.
fur.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
for Dogstorm, his leg is sword, his face is dog.
Wow, 15-year-old references to a YouTube comment. That's what that was, right?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Back. 2010.
I think that was 09. Okay, let's please get into this, Alex.
Okay, so we start off and we have some giants conferring with each other. At least I think they're giants. They sure are dressed as them. And we see sort of the buildings are Lego-esque, like we saw at the end of last chapter. And we see some smoke billowing in the distance. And the giants are saying, "There's a fire! Put it out with spring water!" One says, "What's that smell?" More, "Is it from the forest? If it spreads to Yggdrasil, the world tree, then our country is finished.
I thought that was...
We should report to the sun god." And we see Yggdrasil, a site that we've only seen in Linland's flashback.
Presumably, yeah.
Yeah. As well as more Lego buildings. Looks like we've got some classic sets on the side there. Looks like the Islander sets from the mid-90s. Yeah, somebody went to the Lego store and just went apeshit.
I'm excited to do that.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I'd figure that IKEA would be the thing that Elbaf would be into more than Lego, but this is
IKEA
fun.
Lego sets, obviously.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Those break easily, though. Like, after 2 moves, they're, you just have bricks all over the floor that you're stepping on.
Yeah. So we still see that smoke billowing, and then in this panel we see these 2 giant bees who have been sort of run through. And there's a giant that looks kind of like one of Cracker's biscuit soldiers, who says, "Clearly there's some funny business afoot. There's no reason the Stingmores would have fallen from the sky otherwise." And we have another giant looking.
That's a good name.
The Stingmores, I was thinking the same
Stingmores.
thing.
Stingmores, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
fun.
Mr. Stigmore, and this is my son, Stingmore.
So is that the hive falling in the panel above it?
No, so we could talk about this later too, but Stephen, what I was gathering is that when one of the Straw Hats beats one of these things, they're falling on this town somehow. I don't know the correlation, because
I think they're up in the trees. They're beating up the Stingmores, and they're falling, right?
and they're falling down, right?
Possibly,
that's what's
yeah.
happening. Okay, you're being
That's what it would suggest.
right. Yeah, it's just we see
Who's
it
to say?
backwards.
Who's to
Yeah.
say, Zach?
Unless they beat him up on the ground and the giants are just assuming they would that's what happened. They just fell out of the sky. They didn't see it for themselves or something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So 2 other giants are talking to each other now. "From what those in the forest say, that rumbling earlier was the sound of the ear god collapsing." "Impossible. What could possibly cause that titanic rabbit to fall?" So we'll find out what that is probably later. Meanwhile, at Big Stein Castle, which is where we last left Nami.
They have
in
lots
our
of beer
previous chapter.
there, I think we could say.
Yeah, even the trees look like they're made out of Lego.
Mhm.
Yep.
It sort of looks like an 8-bit.
It's like Minecraft.
3D Dot
Minecraft,
Heroes or Minecraft, I guess, is a much more contemporary reference. Yeah. So we hear a scream from the castle, and it's Nami who says, "It's still alive. What's with these horrible giant bees?" And looks like she already has used her sorcery Climatact to dispose of one of the Stingmores, and Zeus is out of the Climatact and says, "Good morning, Nami. Where are we?" And she says, "I don't know. I thought we were riding on the giant's ship."
Yeah.
And
So
zapping.
I thought so too.
I don't really know. So like some of these names, like the Stingmores and Big Stein Castle, like I'm not actually positive on if there is like a specific thing that he is referencing or going off of. I was looking through.
I assume they're written in Kana.
They are, yes. The Stingmores are also written with like bee soldiers or something, which I mean that's fairly self-evident. But
There you go.
I've worked on series like Sorter Online and stuff where like they just crib from tons of Old Norse terms. and stuff for like magic spells or, you know, magic items and whatnot. And so I was using my old sources and like combing through them looking for things that was like, oh, this would be a reference to this. I couldn't really find anything. That doesn't mean that there isn't something that Oda was going off of linguistically, but I did find it like appropriate that what I settled on was like sting more and big sting. It's sort of like he just adds a little like, here, this thing is bigger. There's more to it, to emphasize that we are in the land of giants, perhaps. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure, but that's the best thing I can think of right now for sure.
I feel like there was something else I want to mention here, but I don't remember.
Is it Big Stein or Big Steen, by the way? Because I'm very bad.
Okay.
It's actually Berenstain.
Actually, it is Stain. It is pronounced Stain. It is Big Stain. And so that was part of the thing, was because I was like, well, the Japanese, it's phonetic, so like they know Stein. Yeah. But when I tried searching for stuff, I was getting a lot of like Neuschwanstein, and it kind of looks similar to that castle. You know, if you've ever done a jigsaw puzzle, then you've probably seen
that castle's in Bavaria.
Yes,
I think it's what the Sleeping Beauty castle. I think
a lot of the Disney castles.
If it was Stein, that means stone.
Yeah, but this one is pronounced Stain. Yeah.
Oh, Stain, Big Stain.
Yeah,
Big Stain carpet.
That's why I'm like, okay, I'm not really positive, but
so it's not Morty Bigstein of the Bigstein of Bigstein.
You can pronounce it however you want. I don't think there's a rule here, but
we need to know. There is a rule. My comments, they'll get angry at me.
Yeah.
Further in the chapter, we're gonna meet something that probably leaves a big stain.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there's a particular character who's kind of a big stain this week.
Fun fact about Neuschwanstein too is that was built in like the late 1800s, I think. So it was modeled after like a Platonic ideal of medieval castle. Oh. So it's about as medieval as like the Bass Pro Shop pyramid is an ancient pyramid. So
yes,
I'm excited that we're fully in the Ren Fair mode here.
Plus Legos.
I mean, that's a good combo.
Before we move on, I want to say I love Nami's hairstyle.
Yes. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, really great Viking stuff.
Mel.
Yes. So we're back on Nami, and she's screaming and crying, and she's yelling, "Wow, someone come and save me! Luffy, Zoro, Sanji!" And then she kind of whispers, "I'll even settle for Usopp." And then we see her whole outfit, which is adorable, and I love it dearly, with her leg warmers and her little skirt and everything. And she's yelling, "Am I going crazy? I don't even remember changing. Where am I? Is this a dream?" As she walks around the castle, she says, "What castle is this?" And then someone yells, "Hey, Nami!" And Nami says, "Oh, that's Usopp's voice." She then trips on the Lego floor and says, "Ow, what's going on with the ground? It's all bumpy." And I always assume... Well, I assume this is Oda making fun of maybe stepping on a Lego and that hurting your feet, maybe, unless he's just making her trip to make her trip.
Kind of.
In all fairness, for readers who are reading this really fast, I don't know if they would have caught all the Lego stuff without that moment. That's the first time I noticed it.
That's
true.
My first time.
I think for people who aren't like in the content minds, I think, as you put it, Mel, I'm sure. Like I know my first read again on my phone jammer. Never gonna live this down. I didn't notice the Lego thing immediately, and when I read it again, I'm like, oh yeah, those are Legos. But go ahead. Sorry.
All right, Nami has fallen over, and something says thunk, and she sees a big fat hedgehog. I believe it is. It's very cute looking. And Nami makes a face of disbelief and yells, "It's huge!" And the hedgehog yells, "Pwee!" And we have a very interesting shot of Nami, I must say, in this panel.
It's a kind of an egghead shot. That's
I was about to say Oda renewed Arsman, so very, very, very nice to see that. I'm glad Oda's living his best life with what he wants to draw.
He absolutely is doing that.
Exactly. The hedgehog growls at her and gets angry, and Nami runs away and yells, "Yeah, wait, sorry, I didn't mean to startle you." And she yells, "Usopp, where are you?" And Usopp yells, "I'm down here." And then we see Usopp is in the mouth of a giant, what seems to be cat wearing a cape and a crown. And Usopp is yelling, "Save me!" And Nami yells,
I feel like I've seen this cat with a crown in a color spread
It's
before.
kind of like the Germa 66 Calicoach.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like literally, these animals do look like stuff that would just be on color spreads rather than
Yeah.
They do.
actual canon material.
They do.
Yeah.
That's a compliment, I think.
I feel like there's a Great Mouse Detective reference to be had with this.
Oh
giant.
yeah,
I was
Giant
thinking of
cat.
I was thinking of what was it? Prince John, is that the guy in the Robin Hood cartoon, like with
Yes,
like
the
the royal
lion.
cloak and everything?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What if Oda just likes cats with crowns?
I was going to say.
I mean,
too.
could be that.
It has to start somewhere.
No, it probably is a reference to something, knowing Oda. Okay, so Nami is seeing Usopp in the mouth of the cat and yelling, "You're supposed to save me! What is that monster? I'm in trouble over here too. What is this? Some kind of castle of monsters?" And the hedgehog's still chasing her, and she yells, "Extend, Zeus!" And Zeus yells, "I can do that." And Nami tumbles back and yells, "I'm gonna fall," as Zeus charges forward and zaps the hedgehog. Usopp yells, I think Nami yells, "Whatever, just zap it," to Zeus. She falls and hits the big cat with the cape and the crown. The hedgehog falls, electrified, and lands on the cat and then electrifies the big cat as the big cat drops Usopp out of its mouth.
The static electricity thing is great. Or not static, I guess electricity. I guess
Just
it's
the
both.
electricity,
Yeah.
actual
Is
electricity.
anybody going to try and make cat noises?
Wow!
There you go.
There you go.
Is that Mel? Oh.
That was me. Wow!
Me, wow.
The listeners have to determine who all the meows are. So this is a hedgehog. I was trying to think. At first, I thought it was like
thought
a
it was a
mouse,
bear.
cat, dog, but then
Oh, or bear, or cat dog. Yeah.
yeah, no, not
The
cat
only
dog.
reason
from
I knew
Nickelodeon,
this
no.
was a hedgehog is because there's a very popular like meme or like video animal meme in Japan of like this little hedgehog that like someone feeds it and it like pops out and it gets really excited. They really like that little hedgehog in Japan. It looks nearly exactly like that hedgehog.
Well, do hedgehogs like turn
I
into
think I know what you mean.
porcupines when they get back? Like this is like a
Technically,
puffer fish
no.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Technically, no, but dinosaurs don't tend to, shoot their necks off when
Porcupines
they're
appear
fighting.
furry except for their tails.
Oh, do they?
Yeah,
Um,
they keep with their
I
equivalent.
disagree with your dinosaur
Hedgehogs have
logic.
spikes all over their bodies. I think.
Jammer, you're next.
Yeah, really quick before we get into that, I just introducing Nami. She I don't know if I've ever, if I recall offhand, her like immediately waking up and starting to cry immediately. Like for a second, I was just like, it's like she was a different character for that one panel. It was just really weird to me that she just started.
Well, no,
crying.
she
Like,
got
the
up
Wah
the
just
previous-
felt weird. You're
She
right,
got-
I guess so.
Yeah,
That's fair.
She's having an absinthe hangover.
To be fair,
That's a good point. That's a
Yeah.
good point. She's not
be
feeling
fair.
very good.
I think the reason this made tons of sense to me is because there's a giant bug and she's terrified of bugs. So
Yes,
she's
that's
That's
screaming.
true.
She's
That is
screaming in
true.
fear.
who here would not have that reaction upon seeing giant bees? Like,
That's
Me.
fair.
That's pretty
I
good
live in
point.
Australia.
that's true. They have giant bees there.
Nami, I can save you.
Mel just wakes up. There's a giant bee next to her when she
Yeah,
wakes
casual day.
up.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and again, left the screen door open. Anyway, go ahead.
So they shock the hedgehog and the giant cat, and I think that is it. Just yelling, is that correct? Or a sizzling, like the is what does that sound? Is
I
that
think
them
that's
screaming?
Usopp.
Is that Usopp? Okay,
Yeah.
so go
Usopp
straight from
falling
that
out of the mouth there.
That is
to disbelief. From
Excellent
Nami.
panel.
Yeah,
Sorry, I didn't
very
mean to
well
interrupt.
shaded.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I like Nami channeling her best Star Wars character and talking about she has a bad feeling about this, and it leads to a glare from the cat. It didn't do very well. It didn't really do much against it. It's just infuriated and angered, and it goes "Meow," and chases after them. And as they're running, Nami, of course, is asking Usopp, "Hey, okay, what have you figured out so far? Like, we woke up," and he says, "Yeah, we woke up and we were just here. Last time we checked, we were getting drunk with the giants, right?" Cue a flashback from one of the giants from, I think it was last chapter,
Yeah, it was,
or maybe
yeah.
the chapter before,
Yeah.
where they were partying. and he talked about this is absinthe. Or absinthe or whatever, the green fairy, whatever they called it, that has the power to make you hallucinate. So be careful. Clearly, they were not careful enough, or that's at least what they're kind of having us believe. I don't believe it for a second.
Nami was chugging it.
I don't believe it for a second, though.
Yeah.
What was Alex's reaction like after he saw that? Like that they were just chugging absinthe out of like barrels?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane. Nobody should do that. Also, absinthe isn't, I would say it's not tasty enough to
Literally poison.
Yeah,
And that's why you're supposed to pour it over a sugar cube.
yeah. I mean, I've usually drank it in cocktails like Sazeracs, but absinthe by itself, I don't think is a great drink, especially to put in a giant barrel to glug. So.
That was Zoro and Nami mainly drinking the barrels, from what I remembered. The other ones had smaller cups, but Zoro and Nami are insane. So,
Yeah, I was trying to think back to Whiskey Peak.
Yeah.
Because Nami and
They are the heavy drinkers.
Nami and
yes.
Zoro were the ones that could handle it, right?
Yeah, they could handle the most.
Yeah.
Also, I think Zoro has no taste buds, but I don't know about Nami.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think Zoro cares. He just inhales it.
I mean, can Sanji taste anything? He's a smoker.
Exactly.
True.
Okay.
They reach a dead end, unfortunately. They reach the little open castle thing areas, whatever. It's a dead end. They can't go any further without jumping off the edge. They're really high up. And they start to think, hey, maybe this cat here is just a hallucination from the absinthe. Maybe this is all one big hallucination. And if it's a hallucination, it can't hurt me. So Usopp, of course, turns around to bravely confront the giant cat.
That's good life advice. Hallucinations can't hurt you.
It's great life advice. It's true. Unfortunately, this one does hurt him, and he gets swatted away, and Nami cries out, Usopp, as
Can I
he
just
comes
say
flying
I
towards her.
love this panel so much. This is so cinematic and beautiful to me.
Yeah. It's very much it's very like I don't know if this is meant to be a direct reference to like Glass Mask, but that's kind of like the source of the white-eyed like emotional reaction in shoujo manga.
Yeah, it felt like a reference to something when I saw it, because I was like, this is Oda draws like this, but I was like, this is very interesting composition.
Yeah.
Just the swatting away of Usopp.
No,
the Nami and the Nami
the
watching
Nami
as he
face.
swats
Oh, yeah,
away.
yeah.
It feels like a
Got
I
it.
know
shoujo.
what you mean. I've seen that kind of meme before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even 80s manga-ish, maybe.
Yeah.
But I see her sliding into frame cheaply. Like, I think that would be very funny.
Yeah, as it echoes,
yeah.
Usopp!
But, like, literally just that image feels like a very... No, this
no
was
movement.
also a great gag, because you know what's going to happen. Like, when I read the words hallucinations can't hurt me, I'm like, oh, he's going to get fucked.
Yeah.
Ed.
Yeah, and we see what happens next as the cat comes crashing through the wall and out of the castle with a meow, and his paws still outstretched, and we hear Usopp as Usopp falls out of the hole that the cat just created, and someone says, "Is that Nami saying ah?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Kya as she falls,
Both.
and the cat continues to and yeah. So Usopp is like, why is it a lion now? We're done for.
I don't know if that's what
Eek.
It's like a Conan O'Brien.
And so Usopp is on the ground now, and he says, "Don't use me as a shield," because Nami is sort of hiding behind him as the lion bears down on them.
No, he's not.
Or Usopp, get it! Usopp, get up! Open your eyes. And yeah.
Yeah.
Then we hear an, "Oh, Nami."
So I want to note that it is very funny that she clearly has to pick him up, I guess, to put him in front of her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot too on this page, or this set of pages, a lot of like odd and seemingly incongruous details, like that they fall and then, how did they, they're just on Lego ground, which does seem to be hard.
Gotta hurt.
And they just seem to be fine there. And
well, not Usopp. To be fair, not Usopp.
Yeah,
well that's because he got zapped before or hit
Usopp's
before.
a bloodstain at this point, basically.
Yeah,
and there are other like skeletons down there. There's a skeleton down there
too.
Yeah, but it's also interesting that like if you're assuming that the cat is to the giants is a normal sized cat, it is very large for the size of this castle. Like it's completely busting out, which would suggest that this is we've talked about before. This might be a toy castle to the giants that they are running around in.
Which is interesting. So I admit I'm a little bit disappointed that like the Legos are breaking apart like standard rubble as opposed to Lego style.
Well, no,
some of them are. Some of them are breaking on the bricks.
Well, this might be such a powerful claw that the Lego bricks are shattering. But you do see like a two-piece like coming out there. Thus beginning the spin-off series, two-piece.
Two-piece.
I'm sorry, I had to.
I'm glad that dad jokes haven't ended.
Yeah.
Only gotten stronger.
Yeah, he's
I've only grown more powerful in my dad jokes. Steven.
So on the next page, yes, we heard Sanji coming in, and we have not just Sanji, we have Sanji, Luffy, and Zoro. And Sanji says, "For the crime of making my beloved cry, death!" And he starts up Ifrit Jamba Epaule, which is his shoulder attack. And then Luffy here starts with his Gear 4 Gum Gum Elephant, which is
Gear 4?
Yes, curious because that is a Gear 3 move. And Zoro starts with his 3 sword style Black Rope Dragon, and the lion puts up a good front, but is absolutely no match for the 3 of them, of course, as they go Twister, Whip, Strike. And interestingly enough, if you unpack the order there, Twister is Zoro's move, Whip is Luffy's move, and Strike is Sanji's move. So it's like they're nesting dolls or something, where Zoro is the last one to talk, but he's the first one to finish.
No, it's what's it called? Snake order, like when you go back 1, 2, 3, and then 3, 2.
Oh yeah, like drafting order. Yeah. But of course, very cool action panel. We can see Sanji is like smashing the crown on the top of the lion's head, and Luffy is kicking it in the cheek as Zoro does a cool twisty spin. I don't know what that's actually doing to the lion. You can't really see.
Yeah, slashing it. He's stretching it really hard.
It's a gust of wind that just like a little breeze. That's not
his
fun.
Tatsumaki attack, right?
It's Tatsumaki is the dragon twister. Nami and Usopp are freaking out about it, and then the lion falls, and we see it like shrink back down into the cat as it goes meow.
This is the same cat from earlier, I guess.
Yes.
So he got. You see, that's the thing in that black space on the previous page. What the hell was going on?
Right. What happened?
Yeah, I don't know.
Can you see why I was awake at night with this chapter?
What happened with that lion? Yeah, I think we'll discuss more, and I know that the general One Piece community has picked up on a lot of inconsistencies and weird decisions. The Gear 4 thing is odd. I will say I wish there was more space devoted to the 3 panels of the Straw Hats on the right. With Sanji, Luffy, and Zoro. Zoro particularly, because I really had to zoom in to see what the hell was happening there. Because with the goggles, which we'll see in a second, you barely see his face, and it looks like a really cool pose, and the dragon in the background is cool, but it's like squeezed into like a couple of inches there, Anyway, we go to a really cool spread here on the next page. I think Steve mentioned how the one of the 2-page spreads from last week is like, this is just a cool looking. You don't have to know anything about the series, but this is cool looking. This one also gives me that kind of vibe here. See Zoro with his cool new goggles. I don't know why he has anything over his left eye, but
he's gone snorkeling.
Yeah, that's what it is.
For actually a split second, I thought it was Drake for like half a second when I first saw him.
It does look more like a mask, like a tuxedo mask-ish kind of like.
I thought it was a metal mask, like some of the giants. Well, not some of the giants, but who was it? Dory wore over his own face.
That's part of his helmet, actually. I think.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, but it does look kind of funny. The side of it clearly embroidered with some fancy design. I hope the Zosan community out there is thriving. Anyway, he says, the heck, it turned into a cat? Luffy doesn't eat cats, I guess. Saying he'll pass on this, but that roast rabbit was amazing.
Wait a second. Quick question. So roast rabbit, they did talk about the ear god rabbit. Did they eat a god?
I love the assumption or the implication that they cooked up and ate a god and they just got to this place.
That sounds right. I guess the ear god was, well, we don't know how they're using god, and it could just be, a name, a nickname.
It could be like Skypiea with NL.
It's like the gods from Princess Mononoke.
Yeah.
For God.
Right. Yeah. Actually, that's a good point. That's probably what it is. I was just being facetious, but that's correct. So yeah, we see the fried cat there on the ground. Also the fried Usopp, fried, mentally and psychologically. As Sanji is in his knight outfit here, literally a knight in shining armor, as he says, Nami, you had me worried. And Nami's like, I'm so scared, Sanji. Usopp's dead. Usopp, helmet now no longer atop his head.
Dead serious about going to Legoland.
He's dead serious.
Sorry, that one. Anyway, he has the facial hair still, though. He's like, alive. I'm alive. I'm going to remember you used me as a sheep. And passes out, presumably. Meanwhile, we zoom back out to presumably those two same giants from earlier saying, not again. And you have Luffy in iconic Luffy pose. I don't know how else to describe this. Holding his Viking helmet saying, there's some huge creatures around too. I bet you if they taste good, it'll be worth the trouble. We'll whoop them. That's how he's saying it.
Why are you talking like that?
I don't know. And so Luffy crouched down there over on the cat, being adorable. Different type of adorable. We have Zoro here saying, finding the sea, telling us directions here, like where we need to go. We need to go to the sea and find the ship. We don't know what the rest of the crew is doing. We're in good hands here, I'm sure. We'll find those two things and not go in the completely wrong direction. Meanwhile, Sanji points that, speaking of food, which Luffy was talking about, what about that hive with all those gigantic bees? That's a respectable food source. Honey's very nutritious and delicious. And Nami, once again, pupilless, I repeat, pupilless, says, why are you all so comfortable? Where the hell are we? And we are off next week with a gong over there, over her head there. And that is...
It's kind of an abrupt ending. I was expecting more.
Me too. Yeah, it just ended.
That's how chapters come to a conclusion usually.
Okay. Yeah, but usually there's like I expected one more spread, to be honest.
Yeah, I did too, but also the way Shonen Jump I get it, and I felt that way too, because 15 pages.
I was reading it on my phone. I kept swiping, looking for another page.
Are you about to explain to me how Shonen Jump works, Zach? Is that what's going to happen right now?
To be continued. It's a cliffhanger. Okay. What's going on? Anyway, that's chapter 1127. We'll discuss more about whether there should have been more pages or not. Mel, what were your thoughts on this one? What kept you up all night?
Oh my god. We're gonna be here for a little bit. Okay, so first of all, thoughts aside about like writing and stuff, I love the art this chapter. The art is wonderful this chapter. I especially love Nami's expressions. Love Nami point blank. One of my favorite expressions was when she first saw the hedgehog and she made that look of bewilderment. That really stood out to me. And of course, the cinematic panel of Usopp getting slapped and Nami yelling Usopp. Really, really, really love the art this chapter. But of course, the thing that kept me up is, as you mentioned beforehand, the amount of inconsistencies this chapter drove me absolutely nuts, because it's one thing for Oda to make a mistake once or twice per chapter. Not even per chapter, honestly, once or twice per few chapters, but this many at a time is insanity, because he has a team and he has editors and everyone to help him to point these things out. And it's not lost on me that in the same page we have Sanji, we have Luffy with a sword on his back, and that sword then changes to an axe. That feels very on purpose, because I think you'd have to really, really think about that to go from a sword to an axe. You know what I mean? Like, either Oda was incredibly out of it this chapter,
Possible.
or he's doing this on purpose. Because the other thing that I noticed recently as well, I have a list of things that were inconsistent because there were just so many. But Luffy doesn't have his straw hat. Maybe it's under the helmet, I don't know, but I don't see it anywhere on him in any of these chapters. And I'm happy to say it's under the helmet, but I can't see any indication that it might be. So that's also confusing to me. I have no idea where it is. The outfits keep changing in and out for a lot of the Straw Hats. Just small things, but it still changes here and there. The skulls on the ground that we see with Nami and Usopp when they're sitting there together just disappear completely once the monster trio show up, which I thought was very strange and interesting, because I looked far and wide and they don't seem to be there anymore. But mainly I was just so focused on the inconsistencies, because usually when Oda has an inconsistency, one or two people notice it, but we've got a whole community noticing so many this time around. And I'm happy to say maybe Oda was just out of it, but I want to believe and give Oda the benefit of the doubt that this is something he's doing on purpose to trip us out, because there's a lot of what I would call red herrings in the terms of like, oh, it's a hallucination, and then Usopp gets hit. So is it a hallucination? Is it not a hallucination? Is it that Nami might be tripping out and that Usopp was just the one to get hit, but she wasn't? Do you know what I mean? Like, the same with falling off the castle. Why are they just suddenly fine after landing on the ground? It just feels, a lot of it feels purposeful to me.
It was a very far fall.
Exactly. It was a very far fall, and they just seem to be fine. And we keep cutting from black as well. I don't know. There's just a lot of strange things going on.
I think it's Occam's razor.
Usopp should be a bloodstain at this point.
I have to say it's probably Occam's razor, meaning just the simplest answer is probably the correct one. I mean, Stephen, correct me if I'm wrong. Before break weeks, we've discussed this a lot on here at least, Oda is usually rushing and trying to get out. That's why they're usually the shortest chapter of the bunch. This, I feel like that might be part of the reason. I think there's probably two reasons. First, he's dealing with a new setting and new stuff, and he might not have worked out everything perfectly at this point, which is not like him. Fair enough. But he may have also been in a rush this week to just get it out and get it all out the door. And I assume these things will be corrected in the volume, and I assume someone in Japan is telling him that there are these inconsistencies. I would be remiss, because the gag of the hallucination thing, I doubt personally that this is an hallucination, because it would be a real waste of time, in my opinion.
Because hallucinations can't hurt you.
Well,
yeah,
they can hurt you in the hallucination, though.
I wouldn't say
they only cause you psychic damage.
I wouldn't say it's a full hallucination. Like, I'm not saying this isn't happening. I'm saying it could be very possible that Nami is still a little bit out of it.
We're not seeing it from her point of view necessarily. Like, it's still a third person story. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway.
it is possible that yes, that some of these things could be attributed to like the lingering effects of the absence, but I think it's also possible, and this is something that we have seen multiple times in different arcs, that that there's some kind of like magic spell on the kingdom of Elbaf or something. Similar to like the toys in Dressrosa or something, where like the cat changing sizes or something is actually just a thing that happens. Like, when they call these animals gods, maybe that has something to do with it. It is possible that there are that he is I guess he's using the absence as a red herring, but that there is actually something else that is kind of messing with our perception of what's happening.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I can smell a red herring. I just don't know where the red, like which one is the red herring.
Where's the herring coming from? It is
exactly.
It is an island based on Norse mythology, so there's probably a lot of herring around. Yeah.
Oh, and the other thing before we move on is the world tree. The world tree about to be catching on fire. I'm sensing Ohara from this, and I'm starting to think that maybe Ohara's tree, because we know the giants on Ohara were connected in some form, because they helped Ohara with their knowledge and their books once we saw an egghead. So I'm thinking that maybe Ohara's tree was inspired from the world tree on, I think, Elbaf, wherever we are. We could be on Elbaf. I'd assume so. So I feel like there's going to be more of a connection between Ohara and Elbaf with this worldly, godly tree centered in the middle of the island, I think.
The tree thing is particularly interesting. I mean, I know we discussed this during the Big Mom flashback 80 years ago, but we know the Adam and Eve tree, some of the wood of which is used for the Thousand Sunny that Frankie purchased back in Water 7. The Eve tree, I think, is the one in Fishman Island, right?
Sun tree.
Or sun. I thought that was a part of the Adam and Eve tree, like that lineage, but I might be wrong. I haven't read Fishman Island in quite a bit. But it's been
Adam Wood.
Adam Wood, but from the Adam tree, I think. Anyway, my point is, I think there is definitely a mythology around these large trees that we're going to learn more about. I have to assume this is Elbaf.
It is the sunlight tree Eve.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
yeah. On Fishman Island.
Yeah, I was right.
Yeah.
It happens every so often. I don't know if this is Elbaf proper. The one inconsistency, I don't know if it's an inconsistency or not, to be fair, is if we are in some sort of playhouse with the cats and the hedgehogs up there in the sky, which is seeming possible, then why are there also Legos on the ground where these other giants are?
Well, the ground is also Legos because you build up from the Lego base. You put the base of the building you're building is attached to the ground.
Yeah, maybe.
Presumably,
yeah,
but maybe not in this world.
We don't have enough information to know is the other problem.
No.
Anything else, Mel? Yeah.
I will also say that the world tree is a very, while I'm not into the genre, it's a very anime fantasy isekai thing. The second I saw world tree, I was like, yeah, we're definitely in a fantasy world now if Oda's introducing the world tree. It's a very fantasy trope that I've seen for a lot of fantasy anime. Just thought, that was a interesting thing to point out, I suppose. And the last thing is, out of all the outfits, because we got new outfits this chapter, which is very fun, very exciting. I love Zoro's goggles. I love them dearly because they look so lame, and that's exactly how I like Zoro. He tries to be so cool that sometimes it just comes off as lame by accident, and that's what those goggles are giving me. Yeah. He's like, I'm putting them on.
If the tree was destroyed, so cool. The island would sink into the ocean, basically, because the tree is supporting the island, like the roots support the island. I think that's what I think.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, my thing with Zoro is I think he put the goggles on, going, "This is so cool," but he just looks like a lame man. But yeah, that's just what I want to say about that.
Of course,
he's just a big lame,
a little bit.
Anything else, Mel? Any other lame people? Sanji? Any Sanji? Do we get any? Sanji?
Yippee Sanji! That's about it.
Okay. I had to ask. Steven.
Yeah, this is a very a very perplexing, one might say mysterious chapter.
I thought this was a Marvin Gaye chapter because throughout the whole thing I was like, what's going on?
Yes, indeed. It is. Yeah, I was gonna say it's very soulful, and I was wondering, oh well, Big Mom has a lot of soul powers. Yeah, I don't know. It is, and the thing is, there's no way to be positive because all these things that Mel listed, which are very true, like there are tons of inconsistencies, but almost all of them are all mistakes of the kind that Oda has and will make regularly. He just doesn't do as many as this in one place at one time. So it's really hard to say, like, okay, is he pulling a fast one on us? Is he messing with our perception of the events that are happening on purpose, or was he just really rushed and didn't have time to double check all of the details, and he just kind of was winging it as he was inking, and that's how you wind up with things like Luffy having the sword in one panel and then the axe in the next panel, because again, that's the sort of thing that happens all the time in One Piece. So it's really hard. It's kind of messed up. It's like, okay, if it turns out that it is him playing a trick on us, it is kind of dirty that he's doing it in a way that is very much like, oh, this is just Oda being Oda, and playing fast and loose with the visual details.
Of course, we've got the Gear
I
4
just
as
appreciate
well.
all the slapstick in this chapter too, especially with Usopp. Usopp is very funny.
The Gear 4 thing is another one that it's just like, if that is supposed to be like tricking you, if it's supposed to be like making you question your sense of reality, like why that particular thing? Like what does that serve to have Luffy saying the wrong thing as a character? It is so perplexing. I do like I like the outfits. I think Nami looks really great. I think she's got some great facial expressions and fun stuff. It's a very fun, like, hijinks chapter, and I'm definitely looking forward to more of it. But there's really no escaping the sensation that, like, Oda is being very careful about what he shows you and what he doesn't show you, because it feels like we're constantly left wondering, like, what is the actual scale of the things that we're looking at, and who is doing what, who is off screen doing what. It is a very mysterious chapter. So I hope.
Why is a cat turning into a lion?
Yeah, like
back into a cat.
Yeah, I almost wonder too. Speaking of the gods being just like animals, giant rabbit and stuff like that. If it is if Oda's kind of doing a mixture of, like, we think of the Norse pantheon. I'm not sure how long, how old all of those different gods are, because some of them I think get, like, developed in, like, the medieval era and stuff, and not necessarily, like, going back to the early days of Northern Europe. But there does seem to be a kind of animism going on here with, like, animals being gods and stuff.
The natives are going to be pissed.
The things that you would not expect them to exalt as, like, the mightiest of gods. But we will see. I don't know. It's very confusing. That's all I have to say.
Jammer.
Going back to sort of the I guess the inconsistencies and all that. This, to me, I hate to say, this felt kind of sloppier to me than usual. I had a hard time following a lot of sort of the panel layouts and sort of the action in this chapter, which kind of leads me to kind of believe that he was rushing, and, like, between that and inconsistency, it just seems like this maybe just been a rush chapter. And the fact that it's so short. Of course, he's had short chapters in the past, but, like, the scenes where the hedgehog fell on top of the cat, I found that really hard to follow. Them falling out of the castle and us not really fully understanding what happened. That could be him being mysterious, but it also was just kind of hard to follow. I'm like, wait, did they land? I know that they showed some time passing and a bit of breathing, but it didn't seem like there was as much of an emphasis on them actually having hit the ground. I guess Usopp doesn't look amazing, but he also was just smacked by a cat. So it was a bit hard for me to follow overall. Had some fun stuff in there, of course, and a couple of fun spreads, but overall, it was at the end of it. I just finished. I was like, okay, that was a chapter. We'll see what comes further.
I need more.
Yeah, I need more. And like we mentioned that it just ended, which apparently chapters just end, as I've just learned today in this podcast. They just end. But I was expecting more. I was expecting something to at least end on a note where I'm like, ooh, what's going to happen next? Not as much where it just felt like it just cut off.
I get it. I was just being facetious.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
I'm kidding. It's okay.
Alex.
Yeah. So I thought this was a real fun chapter. I had to restart my internet halfway through, so apologies if I'm going over some stuff that y'all had talked about already. But I thought this was very fun, albeit confusing, but I think that's sort of by design. The Lego stuff, I have to really hand it to Oda's assistants, because that's got to be really cumbersome to draw all those little bumps and within a certain distance away from each other. It's very, very precise work, and they really knocked that out of the park. Out of all the locales that we've seen in One Piece, this has got to be one of the most annoying for our assistants. And as for the inconsistencies, I'm halfway in the camp that these are, this is Oda's MO when it comes to stuff sometimes. But at the same time, I have a weird theory about it. If this is a hallucination of some sort, the one that really gives me pause, of course, is Luffy's Gear 4th, but it's clearly Gear 3. So I hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Gear 4th would be like Congo.
Yeah. What I think is happening here is that whatever hallucinations are happening, it's sort of like based on Nami's. My theory is perhaps Nami is the only one here, and the rest of them are hallucinations. And as far as this is how she remembers the crew. I'm sure she doesn't really give a crap about Luffy's techniques to the point where she's like Gear 3rd, Gear 4th. What's the difference?
She's also,
but would she imagine him without a straw hat?
Ifrit Jumbe.
The thing is, I don't think she would imagine him without a straw hat, but like you said, it could be under there, it could be hanging off of the back, but then again, under the cloak, whatever. Something weird. I don't know. Something weird's going on either way, because they just woke up and now they're here. Too early to tell. I think somebody in the Discord talked about Loki, the Prince of the Giants, and maybe that Loki has some sort of tie to Norse mythology Loki, trickster, trickster god. So I think maybe there's there could be something going on there. I think that's totally possible. And I like that. I like the Twister Whip strike attack, because it evokes my favorite arc, Alabasta, when they're fighting the giant lizard of Sandora. And I will also weigh in on Zoro's goggles. I think they're cool. I think he looks good in them. But yeah, those are my thoughts.
I'm taking Mel's side on the goggles.
Well, speaking of Zoro, I do think it is funny, out of context, that he says we have to find the sea, because it's normally you would imagine he gets off the ship and you go inland, and then he's like, all right, where's the sea? Where, which way did I come from?
I do think that. I think somebody in the Discord mentioned that, oh yeah, well, Sanji's, he's not a fan of bugs, so why would he not be ick about these bees? But I think for him, nutrition. Well, I think nutrition, he's talking about the honey, I think, and all those bees you knocked out. I'm sure he didn't touch them. So I think that, I don't think that is a particular inconsistency.
Maybe he's grown up.
Agreed.
It's been
that's
a couple
not
years.
No, I don't.
Well, I mean, I like the implication that he didn't take out the bees. He's saying you two. I think Zoro, Zoro and Luffy. He's saying you two who knocked out the bees. So I like the idea that maybe he ran off.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't like big bugs. But the other inconsistency that I thought was very weird to me is Luffy passing on food.
Yes, I thought about that too.
That's bizarre, right? That is very bizarre. And that's the one thing that really stuck out to me, because Luffy doesn't look full. We know when he's full because he's big, fat,
Maybe he
and
doesn't
round.
eat cats. Maybe like that's where he has the cutoff.
He tried to eat a walking, talking reindeer when he
but that's a reindeer. People eat reindeer. You don't eat cats, and you don't eat dogs.
There's no ALF in Luffy, okay? There's
What?
There's no ALF in LUFFY.
I don't like how prescient this suddenly got. So that's a good point.
ALF eats
though.
cats. That's the
I got the
joke
thing. I got it. Yeah.
Thank you for explaining it to me, Alex. I didn't get it, so thank you.
Well, this is also for our listeners. You know,
No,
ALF was
he's
a TV show
being
in the
sincere.
1980s.
I am one. Yeah, he knows.
Yeah,
he knows I'm not smart.
I thought you were being sarcastic.
Yeah.
No, I was not.
He's being sincere. That's why I'm telling Alex he's being sincere.
Anyway, that was like Alf's thing.
Oh, okay.
He's from the planet Melmac and eats cats. Anyways,
Ed, your thoughts?
Ed, yeah.
Like I said, I do like the slapstick chase in this chapter of crashing through a wall and falling 50 feet to the ground, and then like Nami like dragging Usopp up to use him as a human shield, and it's just like, don't do that. And the cat sort of transforming. Yeah, so, but that's gonna be. I think that's gonna be very well do very well in the anime. That's gonna be a good sequence when they get to that. And I think when you see the full lion form of this cat thing, it's actually pretty terrifying with the teeth and the big flowing mane. So, like I said,
the things from Impel Down. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah,
were
I
those
thought that too.
noodle yelling things.
The Minotaur? Or...
Otherwise,
sorry.
No, I think they're going like ramen or whatever as they were swatting.
Oh, yeah.
I forget what
they were lions.
They were griffins.
Were they lions?
Sphinx.
Okay.
They were the ones who wanted it. We're talking about panties, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But otherwise, this was a lot of what's going on in this chapter and how does this relate to the bigger story. There was no bigger story in this chapter. It doesn't relate at all, really. So, but yeah, I think it was Zoro who was right. We need to find the ship and the sea and see where to go from here. So I agree with that. Even if Zoro's usually the guy who's like, where'd everybody go? He's the one getting lost. So it's all rubbing off on everyone else now because the whole crew is lost at this point.
Yeah.
But I do like the look of the Lego. I do like the idea that this is all a toy house kind of thing. But yeah, and then I did think that it ended sort of abruptly. I'm looking for more of a hook of what's going to start the next chapter, but we didn't really get any of that this week. So,
Agreed.
But it's a I'm looking for more exposition. Honestly, this is a very chaotic beginning to this arc. So I guess the point is we don't really know what's going on, and the characters are in the same boat as well. They're very confused too.
Sorry, I think Jamra would be the only person who has ever described the Minotaurs from Impel Down as the noodle yelling things.
I think the thing is, no one's really ever referenced those from Impel Down.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I think that's why
They are similar facially.
I remember Soulman, Ramen. I do remember.
Yeah, that's what I remember. Yeah.
Oh, you know why we remember that? Because we voiced some of them, right? In the dub? Jammer?
No.
Yeah,
no,
we did background.
No,
we did Walla for like some of those, didn't we?
No, we did
Blugori.
we did
Blugori.
Brooks.
Yeah, that's what we did.
The
We did
Blugori.
Blugori. No, we did some Impel Down stuff.
I wasn't there for that version. I was there
yes,
for
you were
later
there
on.
for the whole thing.
No, I wasn't though. I wasn't there for that
He did
one.
the
I think
Satan
maybe you guys
worshippers.
visited. Yes, I did a Satan worshiper
Yeah,
way
you
back when.
But in the room with us, we didn't go back again. We only did that one time.
You never went back? You
No,
only
we
did that
never
one
went
time?
back.
Because
Yeah.
I don't remember the Blugori stuff at all.
No, so we did not to get too inside baseball. Which we did that, and then we did Walla right after. That's the whole thing. We did the background voices.
Did we?
Thought weren't there like
Maybe.
little versions of the noodle guys? Anyway, this is not important. What I was gonna say, this is as confusing as the chapter for people. Yeah, it's an in media res. Is that how it's pronounced?
Yes.
Chapter. For people who like that, I guess that's great. I I mean, as like a storytelling device, I mean, Jammer, I know you're an actual writer doing this kind of stuff. Maybe you could tell me, but I feel like it can work. It's just I feel like it works at like the beginning of a story period, but maybe it's because we're like entering an arc. It feels a little less compelling.
I think the panel layout was I think it was just a bit
no.
confusing in terms of layout and other things that were happening that made it just feel more confusing than maybe it needed to. I don't have a particular problem with this happening, on paper, as it were.
Yeah.
It's just, I think the execution was just it felt rushed to me. It felt a little bit confusing unintentionally.
Yeah. Yeah, Stephen, go ahead.
The other thing, well, yeah, I was just reminded of something that I did want to say, which is that it reminds me a lot of the very first chapter we saw Zoe with Nami, where we didn't know what it was. And so
the
Oda
water that comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. The rain eruption and the ground is all weird and bumpy. And like there's lots of details where it's like he's showing us something, but he's very obviously not showing us everything because because there's some other detail to it that like makes it all a complete picture. But there are definitely going to be some things I fear that are not really going to make a lot of sense in retrospect. Like, there were certain things in that chapter, in the Zoe chapter, that didn't end up like holding true. Like, for example, I think that was the chapter where like the gifters were like they were transforming their body parts. Yeah. They were transforming their body parts in ways that like he didn't end up using in Wano, and people were expecting that. And
I remember, right? Yeah.
So
wow, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't think this is going to be the same thing where like he did that and then he did he waited several months or whatever until we actually saw what the answer was. But this is the danger, I think, of this kind of approach, is that you end up with something where people are kind of unsatisfied.
Yeah, I think this is a very good example of a chapter that standing on its own is not gonna really stand the test of time as it will when you're reading it as part of a volume. Which is it's not to say it's a bad chapter at all. I think the thing that strikes me as odd is I think this is actually a very well drawn chapter by today's standard. I mean, Alex, you could correct me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like the layout, I think that's absolutely an issue. I do agree with Jammer there. A sentence I didn't think I'd be saying that much this week, but I will
say that the last 2 pages spread, excellent looking. I love that. I would love that in framed. Like layout wise, that is just super good. You got the 3, like the monster trio there. You have like the tableau of the
don't think about the crease on the page going down Zoro's face.
But yeah, I really love that last page. I really wanted to say, very beautiful.
Yeah, I think that's why he ended on it. He's like, this looks good. I'm gonna end on this. That's probably
let's just end the chapter here.
Yeah, the thing is, as Steven said, these are all mistakes Oda makes regularly. As Mel also pointed out, that doesn't mean it's every week, but like the facial hair on Sanji, disappearing is a thing that would happen all the time. Mm-hmm. The
Zoro scar on the wrong eye, and
even the straw hat not being there, I feel could definitely be attributed to that. However, I do completely understand the point that, we were just the hallucination is a plot point here. Loki, I really like that as the mischievous thing, like maybe something's going on there. It's really crazy how you could really convince me either way. I am definitely leaning toward the error side. Maybe I'm the cynic here. That I just, Oda is, despite everyone calling him Goda or Gada or whatever the hell it is, he is just a man working a lot, and this is before a break week, so he was probably more... I don't know if this came in at the usual time, Stephen, but I don't know if he was more or less pressed for time.
Yeah, I mean, it's always like right up against the end of, of the printing window or whatever at the end of, his usual, 2 or 3
I know you
week.
had that 1 week, which I won't mention specifically, that it was crazy, recently-ish. But yeah, no, I think the thing that strikes me as odd is I think this is a very well drawn chapter, even on Oda's end. I mean, the assistants did a phenomenal job through this, and they always do. They're very good. Yeah, the thing
It's
that
very
confused
clean
me.
looking to me. A lot of the
I
art.
love the way this
Absolutely.
cat looks, honestly.
Yeah, the cat looks fantastic. The designs are all great. There are some real standout moments. We talked about all the Nami faces, the Usopp things.
Even on the cover, Yamato eating the onigiri is very good.
Yeah, it's a good looking cover page, which you can't always say. I guess not a ton is happening, that Oda was drawing, but besides the clouds and the people, but yeah, that just makes it more confusing to me, though. Like that's, it's a
Where
weird
do we go from here?
contradiction.
I don't know.
Something that I do want to say. You guys have been talking about how this is just too confusing. I'm just not sure if this makes sense. I would like to point out the title is Adventure in the Land of Mystery.
Thank you. I was gonna.
So I do think we are supposed to be confused, and I think Oda is having fun with this. I feel like a lot of people want to jump to, I just want the information and the understanding now.
Correct.
We do have to
On the
remember we
internet?
are reading on the internet, but we do have to remember we're reading an ongoing story, and Oda, I think, is using the weekly release in his favor here to keep us confused over this time, because Nami's confused, Usopp is confused. I think we're supposed to be confused, and I think we're meant to keep that confusion.
That's a good
100%.
point. They're generally, they're the characters that we as readers, they're the surrogate for us.
Right, Usopp and Nami.
Yeah. They're our eyes on the ground.
Yeah. I think if I had to predict, if you had to make me put money down, I'd say it's a combination of both. I think there's definitely mystery, as you said, Mel, is integral to this. I think that blackout panel in particular is like supposed to evoke like what happened there? How did we get in this situation? That I think is purposeful, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The skulls, where did they go? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they didn't exist there in the first place. That could be an air of mystery. The Gear 4 thing, I think is a fuck up.
Luffy passing on food, what about that?
Luffy passing on food is an odd one, unless, as I
Right.
That's
said,
an odd one.
maybe the
That's
cat
weird.
is the line. I know talking sentient reindeer, who has a doctorate, might be fine to eat, but people eat reindeer. People, I don't know.
Reindeer aren't
Okay.
pets.
Yeah, reindeer are a pet. Well,
Yeah.
some places they are. Anyway, what I was going to say is, when I was in Norway, we got to like ride on a reindeer ride, and then they take us into the yurt or the tent, and they feed us reindeer immediately after.
Wow.
And it seemed, weird contradiction. So I don't know. Maybe that is weird. Mel is really putting it in my head that I should be really alarmed by that. And you're not wrong. I think
I did notice it.
the straw hat
I
thing,
did notice it.
No, I did
weird.
too. I think I said something like, which is odd that he decides that's.
But
what
at
he
some
does.
point, he could say no. Come on, everyone could say no at one point.
I think
He-
the only thing is the only time we've seen Luffy say no to food is when we've seen him stuffed to the brim, and he doesn't look stuffed here because again he's not big and round and
He's
jiggly.
growing. He's growing as a man.
There must be foods he does not enjoy.
Yeah.
Cherry
did we
pie.
go through the SBS thing? Like he likes this but doesn't like this.
Cherry
The
pie.
thing is,
Something.
Luffy eats a ton, and he does eat a lot to replenish his strength. But I would not characterize him necessarily as a glutton. Like he's not constantly
No.
only thinking about food. Like there are definitely
Correct.
times where he's fine, he's chill.
Well, he did
and-
nearly get caught by Doflamingo because Doffy offered meat.
There's a
Sure.
section on the wiki. I was just looking to see what the SBS thing that says gluttony.
Yeah, I was
Not
going to
that
say, I
that's
would call Luffy a
real-
glutton. He did eat the entirety of the Straw Hat's
But-
food supply on the way to Whole Cake Island.
Oh
without
yeah,
thinking
the
about
poison. Well, he was
It also
hungry.
sounds like he's pacing himself because he's like, this is a cat.
He
I've
just
seen
ate
cat
a giant.
before.
He just
I
ate
just
a
ate
giant
a, I just ate a
rabbit.
rat. I just ate a
Yeah.
rabbit. I've seen a cat before. There are lots of other things around here that we could potentially eat that can make it worth the trip. So
I'm not sure.
he's watching his figure.
I'm not convinced because the only time we've seen Luffy pass on food is during Whole Cake Island when he was trying to make a point with Sanji. I do not remember any other time he's passed on food apart from being
I
super
have it
stuffed
for you.
and apart from
I
making
have-
a point.
I know the answer for you. He
Go ahead.
has passed on food once.
Was it the cherry pie?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, you had
That's
that
because he didn't
ready
like
to
it.
go. Right, but maybe he doesn't like cat. Maybe he's like,
Maybe.
oh, it's a cat. It's not a lion. I don't want to eat that. Like it's possible he does not like food, is what I mean. He's not
Or
just
you
like
know, it just
garbage
turned
disposal.
it just turned from a lion to a cat. So he's just like, well, I thought this was a
Disappointed.
lion. I'd be down to eat a lion, but not a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big cats, fine. Little cats, big cats, fine. Big
Poison
little cats,
fish,
no.
delicious.
Little big cats, big little cats. Yeah, no, poison. He didn't know that was poison. To be fair, he just ate a fish that looked like poison without thinking. And he does prefer some foods over other foods. To be fair, he is like, well, it's not meat, but I'll have it. You know, like that sort of thing. Wow, I did not think that would be the bone of contention. I'm sorry, that's a dad joke too. I got that in there.
Yo.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think I will reserve my full thoughts on this chapter until we have more chapters. I think Mel really put it well, is that this is a part of a bigger thing. As far as like initial chapter, like I'm trying to think. So Egghead was a pretty chaotic start. I remember
Yeah.
too. It was also kind of an in media res where they just are there and the holograms and all that thing. And Wano Luffy washes up on shore and there's the
Yeah.
baboon and the and also Zoro. I mean, you do get that end media res thing, Zoro with the Harakiri. I
Yeah.
think that was more well thought out personally because that was Wano and that was like Oda's. You know, he had been thinking about that for a very long time. Whole Cake Island. We got
I
the
think there are
Choco
tons of
Choco
arcs
Town.
that open chaotically. Amazon Lily
Yeah.
opened very chaotically to me. Whole Cake Island opened chaotically with Big
Well,
Mom's
Amazon
whole
Lily's-
ensemble.
Impel Down actually probably it was like a very like we're just
one went in
raising the
order.
stakes. I think
Yeah,
that
that
went.
didn't chaotic
I
at
think I
all.
don't think that was chaotic. Amazon Lily
Yeah.
was chaotic for the reasons that Luffy is
The
thrown in
Kuma
there
reasons.
after.
Yeah, that was just
Yeah.
everyone was everywhere. And I was like,
Whenever-
I don't know what's going on.
Marineford is a good. Well, Marineford the art doesn't start chaotically, but Luffy enters it chaotically.
No, I think whenever it's a let's go on a new island, it's always kind of weird. Like the first chapter, Thriller Bark, is also kind of when they set foot on it anyway. Is you know
Fishman Island is a good example of that
Oh,
too,
boy.
but
That's
not
a great
done well. But yeah.
Dressrosa, another
How
one.
did they even enter Fishman Island, really?
No, Dressrosa isn't in media res though. They're in disguise. They have that whole, which I really enjoyed. That
I mean, Dressrosa
start
has
to
a
it.
great opening to it.
Yeah, it
Um,
like the first half of Dressrosa is very good. The second half I have feelings about.
The second half is 500 chapters long. That's the problem.
No, it's 50.
It feels like 500 though. I
I will
you.
say it's just Oda has a very, in my opinion, constant thing he does of he likes to not show his hand all the time. He likes keeping a lot of his cards hidden, especially at the beginning of an arc. There's
Agreed.
been many arcs in One Piece where it started and I've been very confused and I've had to wait until we get more information to go, oh, so this is just standard to me, very standard to me. I feel like this is just, okay, we're on a new island. Oda's wanting us to look around and go, oh my God, what the hell is happening? And is waiting to show his whole hand until the time comes.
I think we're gonna leave it there because I agree.
I just want to say one more thing,
Fine.
and this is an observation I made about Sanji's belt buckle.
Oh,
that looks
thank
like
you.
it looks like the flying hellfish.
Yeah, I think someone else mentioned that on our
Or-
Discord.
Or
Mike Patton did, I think.
yeah, or Muddy Mud Skipper. That was the other one that I was thinking of from
It's like a worm.
Ren and Stimpy.
Oh, did you mention the inconsistency also with Nami's belt? She had a different one last chapter. Okay, I just want to make sure that was mentioned because we're talking about belts.
Oh boy.
Anyway, flying hellfish.
To go home, you're drunk.
There's all that absinthe he drank to really get into character, you know, like that.
There's also one panel where the belt buckle is missing.
The belt buckle is missing. Anyway, on that note, I think we're getting a little too into the minutia. Let's move on to the next segment.
Yes, let's do it.
This is the anime recap for episode 1120. The World is Shaken, the Ruler's Judgment, and the Five Elders' Actions. I'm your host, Sam, and today with me we have, what did I call you? Supreme Commander, or Supreme Chancellor of...
Something like that, yeah.
Supreme Chancellor of Special Guests, Ken O'Connor.
Hello, everyone, I'm back. 2 weeks in a row.
On opposite day?
No, we're not doing that again.
No, it's not opposite day.
Okay, so wait, does that mean last time was then opposite day? Are we confirming that finally?
It was not opposite day then. It's not opposite day today.
I hate this joke.
Oh, I'm glad you hate it, or I'm unhappy that you hate it.
Shut up.
The episode opens with the soldiers of Mary Joa looking for Sabo, who's limping and bleeding through the woods. Sabo is almost scared by a rustle in the bushes, but then it's just a tiny little bunny rabbit. And he's like, oh, don't scare me like that. And then a soldier attacks. The exact opposite of what he wanted.
It's funny, as he was walking through the forest, like, wow, he's losing a lot of blood. It's going to be really easy to track him. And then
Right.
immediately next scene, hey, look, here's some blood. Let's find him. And they immediately tracked him down. I'm like, all right. Because in the manga, they didn't really show any of the people escaping the castle.
Mm-hmm.
So this was just all interesting to see their various Metal Gear escaping and going through the forest and hiding behind various crates and whatnot.
Sabo should be able to just like solder his wounds closed.
I was thinking that too. Just cauterize the wound with the fire.
That's the word.
He looked at his hand for a split second too in the anime. I'm like, okay, he's gonna do that, right? And then now he's just looking at the blood and reminiscing about Cobra. I'm like, okay.
Is your blood made of fire if your whole body is made of fire anyway? Like if he just turns it on, does he just stop bleeding? Does he keep it all in?
I would think so. But like, is that any different than like how Marco's flames heal him? He has like the Phoenix fire.
Well, he wouldn't be flaming. He's just like, he's I guess pausing the wound for when he's not solid.
Yeah, I really don't know. The Logia users are a little. They take a lot of
This fantasy power doesn't
Yes.
make a lot of sense when you really think about it.
Exactly.
You have Chaka and Pell are getting worried about their peeps. Pell goes flying around looking for Vivi. Chaka is trying to push through the guards. He's like, our king is sick. It's been too long. What's going on? Igaram is going around handing out Vivi's acting headshots. Just this is just what they look like.
There's a great part there where Stelly sees her and starts like heart eyes, freaking out and drooling.
And his wife is not happy about it. Vivi and Wapple are hiding behind some boxes at the port, and they decide to hide in some bigger boxes and sneak onto a ship. Meanwhile, Sabo has handily taken care of the guard who jumped him and stolen his armor, it seems. And Vivi and Wapple end up on some kind of Royal Lion ship, not unlike the Royal Lion in today's chapter.
Oh, right. They're on the Aegis Kingdom ship, I think.
Or like Aegis or what?
Aegis, yeah.
One letter off from Aegis.
Some Xenoblade 2 nonsense.
And because the countries that they're fleeing, that they're using to flee, come up later.
Yes. Yeah.
Either Sabo or Bonnie are on the Tanjine kingdom.
Bonnie's on the Tajin ship. Sabo's on
Tajine.
Yeah, Sabo's
going to
Lulu,
Lulu. Yeah.
and the Aegis one for Wapple and Vivi.
Episode Aegis Kingdom. So CP0 is also looking for Vivi and Sabo. This is where, like Stella's got the hard eyes. We have a scene of the five elders receiving a call from Emu, who is saying they want to use the mother flame that Vegapunk invented, and they're going to use it on Lulusia.
But Sam, why are they using it on Lulusia?
Because there's a revolt growing. And,
Why and why else?
And perhaps Sabo is going there.
And
Was there another reason they said?
it's close.
Oh.
They're just showing that Emu does not give a crap. Like, why that one in particular? It's close.
Well, they can see it. They might. They can quickly observe the results.
Yeah.
And this is where we get like the big title cards for all the elders. We got Saint J. Garcia Saturn, who's the godhead of science and defense. Saint Marcus Mars, godhead of the environment. Saint Top Man Warcury, godhead of justice. Saint Ethan Baron V. Nusjuro, god of finance. And Saint Shepherd Jew Peter, godhead of agriculture.
Yeah, I forgot this is where we finally get their names proper. I think last week during the anime recap, I mentioned one of their names. They're like, oh, that's the. If you're an anime only watcher, you don't know that yet, so I apologize for that.
You spoiled them a week ahead of
I know. Of a really obscure name.
A hard to remember name. So there's revolts going on in after the eye catch. We're catching up with Marine headquarters. Sakazuki's getting the news that Aegis Kingdom and Tajine Kingdom are preparing for revolt, and Sakazuki's like pounding his fist on the table like, we can't have that. Deploy the Seraphim. And so we get a little peek of Seraphim, Moria, Doflamingo, Crocodile. Why does Child Croc have the scars, is my question. How does that work?
Yeah, that doesn't really make sense. Like, back when they were talking about, like, oh, like, why does S Snake care for Luffy because he gets passed down the DNA? Like, that I can kind of believe, but the scars getting passed down doesn't make that much sense unless, I don't know. It doesn't make sense at all, really, but... The Seraphim Doflamingo, though, kind of did the Doflamingo walk from the anime.
Yeah, a little bit. It's a very tight shot, so you don't really get to appreciate it in full.
Yeah.
Back in the present day, Sabo is having his conversation with the other revolutionaries. He's saying that he was sensing, when he was in Lucia before the bomb went off, he was sensing their desire for revolt as well, thanks to Bella Betty's inspiration, her inspo fruit. Then Sabo describes the experience of the Mother Flame, like a big dark shadow above the island came. Couldn't have been natural or biological. So they have to discuss the possibility of that being a creation of Vegapunks. There's a shot in here where like Sabo just has a comically small head.
Oh, really? I don't think I noticed that.
Yeah. It's like a kind of a faraway shot, so it's forgivable, but
gotcha.
I noticed it. And then Ivankov's like, hold on, hey Sabo, remember? Like, we do know for a fact that somewhere, the logic is like somewhere we know that there is a power that can make someone immortal, and the only reason we could know that is if somebody was immortal. Therefore, maybe this person you saw at the reverie is the immortal person.
Yeah, and then they also mention, like, oh, by the way, the name Emu is also the name of one of the original 20 who started the world government, but that can't mean, like, like, they're really like, there's no way all these things line up that nicely. And, like, from a narrative standpoint, even we're still not sure, but, like...
but, I mean, having the same name as somebody else is, like, I mean, come on.
That never happens.
It's almost like if people had a shared like middle initial. Of all 26 letters, you have the same one.
Oh, I forgot to mention back when we got the Elder's name reveal. At least like the Crunchyroll translation was like, "There's no one more surrounded by D than he is," when we're referring to Sabo, and I
Nice.
thought that was the best translation.
Nice. Yeah. Can you be a D if you don't have a family name? Like Sabo doesn't have like a last name or a family name, so you just be D Sabo.
Yeah, I still don't know how, like, the D, like again, even where we have no idea what the D
Right.
really truly is, but like, can it be that simple? Like, can anyone be a D if they just like, okay, I name you? Like, is it just, can anyone be named D? Or is there some kind of like
Or
DNA
only
or relative thing to
it's
it?
like the angel that the Virgin Mary saw, who's like, you gotta name him Jesus or whatever.
Why? Just trust me, you got to do it.
So yeah, then we cut back to Mary Joa, where the narrator's just explaining that a celestial dragon has been executed, and a bunch of celestial dragons are kind of gawking and surrounding the scene, the crucifixion, and they're like, "Oh my God, that's what you get for siding with the lowlifes." And the man who carried out the execution was the supreme commander of the Holy Knights, Saint Figerland Garling. And he killed Don Quixote Miosgard. The one and only, our friend. Yeah, so Saint Figerland Garling.
Yeah, pretty bloody like what would you call it? Would you call that crucifixion? Like the way his arms are like kind of over the back of the bar and he's just dripping blood everywhere. So
Yeah, and he's like on a cross and he's being executed.
Yeah.
Yes. So Saint Figerland Garling, awfully blonde for an old man. If there was going to be color in his hair, I'm a little surprised it's that color.
Would you say it's blonde? I took it more as like the old man silverish kind of.
There's definitely some like yellow in it.
Okay.
And this man is like, anybody who defends scum is lower than scum. Just a cool guy introduction. He's got the big crescent moon hairstyle going.
The Max
To be
Knight head,
continued.
as we've
Yeah.
called it.
Yeah. To be continued. And then at the post-credits, Lilith and Edison are talking about Vivi, which I'm surprised. Had they not done this already?
I don't think so. They did Cobra last time, so I think they're just like, all right, now let's do Vivi. They're just going in order.
General thoughts on this episode, Ken?
Very, very solid episode. Again, I've been very impressed with the pacing of the episodes recently. This one covered the entirety of chapter 1086, like literally start to finish, first, second match, the first panel, etc., etc. It was nice just getting a little extra context, seeing them sneak out of the castle and get on their various ships. Because in the manga, it was like, okay, after all the commotion happened, they were just, they all stowed away. Everything's okay. So, all right, it was just nice seeing them kind of like how they got there and just fleshing things out a little bit more. I liked Garling's voice actor a lot. I know that voice actor.
Yeah. He was Gil Tesoro in the movie, in Film Gold,
and he's a hit in Dragon Ball Super. I think that's where I knew him first from.
Yeah,
but good episode. Again, Garling. The Garling's the big the money shot at the end there. I think most the discussion will be around him. But it was good. What do you think?
Episode is fine, like last week. So nothing too exciting to talk about. I think Garling is such a interesting, up and coming antagonist. I feel like it's safe to assume he's going to be some sort of major force that we're going to be fighting against sometime in these final arcs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really curious about his deal. I'm really curious. He's very he just feels strong and he feels threatening. and you barely know anything about him other than that he's the commander of this group you don't know. But it's interesting that like he's a guy who like has the authority to just execute a celestial dragon.
Yeah, like Judge, Jury, Executioner just took him out.
And yeah, I agree. I think it was cool seeing them like board the different ships and like kind of being able to kind of contextualize that there's sort of a connection between these different kingdoms, or at least there's a theme in terms of they're soon to revolt countries. I think I forgot to mention, I wrote down my notes somewhere here that they're Wapol and Vivi talked to Morgans at one point.
Oh, right. I want to know how far back the relationship goes. Like, has Wapol just been like leaking stuff to Morgans for years at this point? Like,
I'm guessing he hadn't been. There probably wasn't much to leak, but like maybe like they met at some point. And he's like, "Hey, you're going to the Reverie, right? Could you like sneak this in?" Like,
because Wapol was at the last Reverie too. That's where he hit Vivi as a kid. Am I remembering that correctly? Or
that would have been. I'm guessing that was several Reverie, because isn't it every 4 years?
Right. So I'm just wondering, like, has this been like Morgan's like, oh yeah, I've had Wapol inside the Reverie for me for years now, or something?
I'm thinking this is my gut is this is a recent development. Like,
okay.
Wapol's a pretty like he's only like technically royalty at this point in the story. He's like several times removed, but like still gets invited to the parties.
Right.
So yeah, I'm guessing like he's just kind of like looking for a quick buck where he can, but maybe that's definitely a possibility as well. That this is like a lifelong thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see more of this little Wapol, Vivi, Morgan's trio. Those are three very fun characters who I never thought would be together and interacting the way they are.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to say before we move on to the next segment, Ken?
No, I'm all good. Thanks, Sam.
All right, let's move on.
This is the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, comments, theories, and don't eat any pets. We don't. That's where we draw the line. We also don't ask questions about your pets. That's not true. We do that. What's our first segment here?
Well, Zach, that is Dispiece.
And Alex doing our Dispiece.
Yeah, here I am. And here I am doing this piece. Whatever.
Thank you, man.
Got it. You need the D. 50 animals in the giant zoo says, I can't believe Usopp is really dead. Sometimes I can still hear his voice. but OPP, what do you think the sun god mentioned early in the chapter is? Is it just another animal, or do they mean Luffy somehow? Maybe the hedgehog.
How did we not talk about that?
I forgot to talk about that. I meant to.
Too
All
much
right, well,
happening.
this is the perfect time to talk about it.
We were talking about eating cats for too long.
Maybe they were talking about the lion because his mane makes him look like a big sun.
Oh.
It had like the sunflower kind of looks like a
Oh.
Yeah, maybe.
But the lion was the cat. I'm very confused by the whole thing.
The lion.
I was wondering. Please, Mel.
Sorry, I just realized because what you said about the lion, and then you reminded me that the Sunny Go is called the Sunny Go, and it's got a big lion on the front that looks like the sun. Hence why the Sunny Go. So you might be right about that.
Maybe they're talking about the ship. They found the ship.
Yeah, they just picked it up, this little toy ship, and they're like, we shall worship this as the sun god.
That's not what I meant, but you know what I mean. But yeah, there's been a previous establishment, well, not establishment, but an idea of a lion indicating a sun through the Sunny Go. So it could be possible that the lion is the sun god.
I think there's a lot of things that are going to come full circle this arc. That might be one of them. I was wondering if maybe somebody's posing as the sun god, like dressed up as Nika.
Yeah.
Sort of like the pauper of Elbaf or something.
Well, maybe Loki is saying he's that.
Yeah, maybe.
Trickster.
More like a dick. Than a trickster.
Dickster.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you, Stephen.
Yep.
There it is. Sheep
Another one
Man.
for the Dickster. Yeah, there you go.
Another one for the Dickster. Sheep Man says, howdy OPP. It
Howdy.
took me a reread to realize that the Titanic rabbit mentioned is the ear god because rabbits have huge ears. Anyway, I am a supporter of the VV reunion that was mentioned in last week's episode. I can see Big News wanting to get the freshest scoop possible by going to Elbaf, and that's how VV reunites with the crew. It's convenient that all the Alabasta crew are the ones separated at this time. An interaction between Robin and Vivi would be quite interesting given their history. I can also see Walpole just hiding out on Elbaf by being a needle in a haystack, being just a guy among giants.
I mean, it's also the Little Garden crew, I think, which was mentioned.
Well, except
which
for
is
Chopper.
apropos. No,
Was Chopper-
Chopper wasn't on Little
No.
Garden. He was on, but he
No,
was on
but-
Alabasta, so it
Yeah.
actually is the Little Garden crew, not the Alabasta
Right.
crew.
Well, right now it's the Little Garden crew, but I'm pretty sure Chopper is with them, right?
Oh yeah, do we know that?
Let me check.
I don't think Chopper was
he
missing.
wasn't in
Was
this
he
chapter,
last
so-
week? I can't.
I think Chopper
remember.
was missing as well. I think it was they just left the.
You might be right. I'm not
Yeah.
saying you're wrong. I just don't remember. Oh yeah, Chopper was not in that scene. It was just
But
Robin,
nobody's-
Frankie, Jinbei,
no.
and
N-
the rest.
Nobody, at least yet, is
And Brock.
asking where's Chopper. So.
Chopper's being worshipped as the sun god, I think.
Oh, there you go.
I hope
Oh my
that was
God!
right.
Like C-3PO.
Yeah. It's just like C-3PO. And
Yeah,
he's being
Chopper needs
carried on a
to.
thing.
Chopper needs to tell them that that if they don't let their friends go, then he'll become powerful or become angry and use his powerful magic. Usopp D Great says, "Oh no, oops! Now Luffy wants to eat the cats. We don't eat cats, Luffy.
No,
He doesn't want to eat the cats.
Oh.
It's true. Oh yeah, I guess
Again, the cat eating chapter this week. Very odd.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Wouldn't that be funny if like that's one of the errors and literally the change is him saying, "Oh yeah, let's
Let's
eat
eat
this
the cat."
Yeah.
Oops, I accidentally wrote not. I don't want to eat it. Or like a
I love
completely
eating
different
cats.
sentence. I meant to say cats are my favorite. Let's murder and eat this cat right now.
yeah.
Don't isolate the footage there, Delaney. Yeah, sorry.
Boy, we actually glossed over Wapol hiding out on Albaf, which would be pretty funny to watch, I think, too.
Oh yeah, that would be something. Wow.
Yeah. Sailor Karna is Universal says, "Good day, OPP. This chapter was hilarious. I love the outfits, and Usopp looks good with a beard mustache combo."
I'm glad somebody said it because we did.
Yeah.
Beard mustache combo. Oh my goodness. I forgot
Last
about
time we
that.
saw that was a film Z, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I,
think
I
so.
want to note also that Oda said something like, "I have to put Usopp in ridiculous outfits, otherwise he would look too cool."
And he's right.
And he's right.
Yeah.
It's the balloon pants. That's the
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
comment I have.
His little.
I love when people draw, like, their
Oblique
fan
style.
art of what the crew's going to look like when the series is done, and Usopp looks like he just looks like a guy, like
Well, isn't that the
with a large
ultimate?
nose.
That's the ultimate improvement for him. Is
Well,
I
just a guy.
guess.
I
just
think
a guy.
Oda might be a little bit attracted to Usopp. He's like, I can't draw him too sexy, or I'll just,
yeah.
Yeah.
it'll be too much for me. He's like, I can't look.
Oh
at
my
him like
God.
that.
That is
Make him- I have
absolutely
to make
what's
him look
happening.
more like Obelix.
Yeah.
I have to nerf him, otherwise I'll be too attracted to him. And everyone else, there's too much power behind Usopp.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh no, I drew Usopp with his shirt off. I better give him a big bushy
How
beard.
does this keep happening?
Usopp was too buff back in Sabaody.
Yeah.
He was, yeah.
He's
He
a little buff
remains
boy.
too buff. Yeah, he is that.
Champion the little buff boys competition.
Oh my God. I'll write that
That
down,
should
but
Be
I
a little
don't know.
noodle man, like he was when he came in.
A little
Yeah.
noodle man.
What happened to our little noodle man? My
a little noodle boy?
He's yelling Noodle Man.
Oh yeah, you were talking about the Manticore earlier.
Yeah.
Manticore.
That's what it was,
That's
yeah.
the name. I
Yeah.
forgot the name.
SNP says, "Hey OPP, what is it with another sun god? Is
Good
it the same
question.
Is that the same situation with Skypiea when the leader of Skypiea is called God / Kami, and in this case, leader of Elbaf is called Sun God? Huh. But importantly, Usopp died in the first chapter of ALF. Is truly Oda's trolling to every fan who said ALF is Usopp's arc.
Yeah. Yeah, that is interesting to note that like they do see that the one thing that we do seem to establish about the Giants is that the sun god seems to be in charge in some way, like because they say like, oh, we have to tell the sun god about this.
Wouldn't
I
it
was
be
thinking
crazy?
Skypiea straight away when I saw that. I was thinking, I think there might be a false god here. This is similar to NL.
What if it is NL?
That
he's
would be
bad?
amazing. I would love that
And-
to be true.
And this time he's a different kind of god. And because he like saw the pictograms or whatever, he's like, I'm just gonna
I'm gonna
dress
dress
up like
Yeah.
Joy Boy. And
That means when he sees Luffy, he's gonna scream and hightail it out of there.
Like an NL face.
He's
Yeah.
truly come
Exactly.
full circle. He's like, the moon sucks. Zach, you're an idiot. The
I'm
moon
going
sucks. The sun
like
is where
that
it's
s-
at.
It's
Yeah.
like that scene in
Damn, UNL.
Madagascar with the penguins, and they're in Antarctica, and they say, "Well, this sucks," and then they go back to.
That's good. Moving on. Lego Island 2 Cramster's Revenge says, Ahoy OPP. Banger chapter as always. I can't believe God Usopp got killed by another god. Why must gods fight? I love the outfits in this chapter. Now that God Usopp is dead, do you think Sniper King will return from Sniper Island to take his place? Have a lovely week.
Man, I would
Rest
love
in
to
peace
see.
to her.
Yeah, I'd love to see some Soge King in Elbaf. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Will he ever return? I assumed he died at Water 7, protecting the
I
Straw
mean-
Hats.
Yeah, it kind of seems like what happened.
What about Thriller Bark?
Oh, yeah, he shows up in Thriller Bark.
Everyone
doesn't
That's
forgets
right.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
goodness.
I don't
He
remember
appears
that.
in mysterious ways.
he? Yeah.
Mysterious.
I
country.
think that was the last time we saw him, though. Is his way of playing brave. Anyway, Reverse Eyeglass says, Hi, OPP. Someone said something about hallucinations. Maybe that means this podcast is just a vision and isn't really there. Hallucinations can't answer my dispiece. Zoro seems disturbed. He probably misses his old glasses.
Is it just me, or do all these questions just read like SBS comments?
I think
Oh,
that's
wow,
the
Jammer.
point.
Yeah,
Welcome to the
we've
club.
cultivated an audience here.
Yes.
We have, yeah. We have grown this audience through hallucinations and absent.
Yeah.
I believe this is his old glasses. That's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. Super Nintendo Chalmers, mark that one down. Hopkins Hat 15 says, Hey OPP, how it be? If Lego made sets for all the pirate ships in One Piece, which one would you be willing to build?
Oh my god, most
Are
of
you,
them.
Are you crazy? All of them. That
Yeah.
sounds awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I've said this before, the Victoria Punk, which rest in peace for that.
Oh my god.
Is
favorite.
is I think one of the coolest ship designs I've seen parodied.
Let the Mr.
That
Luffy
is-
go. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Luffy.
That would be a hard one. let's say that. I guess depending on the chopper on the back too. Can't forget that.
You know, I think my answer for this question is probably the Wapol's ship, the Blicking.
Oh,
Because it can transform. I think that would be really dope.
the Mr. Luffy would be good, but once you're done, then you have to pick it up and smash it on the ground like Harrison Ford.
I do want to say I get all the Lego Island references, Steve, if you're listening out there.
Yeah, Sam.
And that
I
is
love
actually
that
one of
game.
the few video games I played a lot as a kid, and it's great. So I did everything Lego as a kid, though. So, what's the next one?
Next one. You mean the last one? It's Big Mike. Big Mike says if each of the Straw Hats were pitching their casino designs to Mr. Burns in the episode of The Simpsons, Ka-Ching Pringfield, or How I Learned to Stop Wearing and Love Legalized Gambling.
That's
What
how
would
you
their
pronounce the name of that?
That's how I
Ka-Ching's?
pronounce it.
It's a
Whenever,
Springfield with a dollar sign in the.
yeah, like Alien Ka-Ching for aliens. Yeah, or Kesha Ka-Chingsha. Use it. You can have it for free. Anyway, what would their
Good.
casino designs be? I feel like Sanji's would be very similar to the Burns casino because of the mermaid. But I think it would be Nami.
I think he would just make that burlesque house in the spring. That's what Sanji would do.
Nami
Maison
would just
Derriere.
be like exploiting casino. Just no one wins anything. She takes all your money all the time.
Oh my god. I
Oh
love
yeah,
it.
the house always wins.
Mhm.
House always wins.
It's like those what do you see? You know those things where you just put a penny and it goes down the well really slowly, you know. That would just be the whole casino. It's just watching your money
A little
disappear.
like those charity things you see at the mall.
You don't even get to play
Yeah.
a game. Just throw your coin down the well. See what happens.
Exactly. It's you have no fun doing it, but you will give her your money.
You watch the coins
Exactly.
race down towards the hole.
Yeah.
Oh man, I think Robin would use all the funds and build a huge library and just have a little slot machine in the corner. She's like, see, it's technically a casino.
I think it'd be half a library, half a bit of a haunted house because she's a bit of a weirdo. She likes weird things.
That's true. It would be like a very haunted library.
She'd hire Brooke to sit there and scare people.
The Dewey Decimal System would be really messed up.
Choppers would be like an amusement park.
Oh,
Yes.
fairy floss.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
Circus,
cotton
circus.
candy
Cotton
everywhere.
candy, yes.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, candy floss is fine.
Fairy floss is what we call it.
Fair,
Oh, you call it fairy floss.
really?
Yeah.
I'm learning something today about Australia. First, you wake up and see a giant bee every
Bees,
morning.
yeah.
You wake up.
Every morning.
Yeah,
every
I can't
morning.
forget that. It's in your bed with you, like
It
an
is.
actual adult.
Every Australian gets a giant bee.
You get a giant bee. That's it for.
This piece.
Do we have any more casinos we're designing? Let's take a trip somewhere else, Stephen.
Okay, we will go to the subreddit archipelago at reddit.com/r/One Piece podcast. Our first comment is from Amiibo Hunter, who says, "Hey OPP, I love the little details Oda adds. Something as simple as a sheath on Dogstorm's blade leg in the cover story this week is just so cool to me. What are some of your favorite small details or overlooked things Oda has added into the manga? Keep up the amazing work. Love the podcast."
This is such a funny question to get on the week we're talking
Yeah.
about
I know,
all the
right?
errors he made.
My favorite is
potentially.
the shape shifting weapons that Luffy's wearing. Yeah.
You know what I missed? Doskoi Panda.
Me
Those were
too.
fun. And Krimen, we haven't really gotten since Papag, right? As much.
No. I mean, I lament the fact that I never ended up getting one of those original Doskoi Panda aprons, but I do wonder now that Doskoi Panda is being introduced in the One Piece live action, we might actually get some merch. And that would make me very happy.
Very nice.
Agreed.
But as for the question, it's an interesting one, and I always just think about like these usually show up in the cover stories, I think. And the one that I keep coming back to always is the fact that I think the Baratier looks like Sanji's wanted poster now.
Yeah. I'm so proud of him. But also
Natsuko
making fun of him.
I don't know if that's like a little detail, but I really do love that.
Little known.
Yeah.
Hold on. Everyone, the Baratier looks like Sanji's wanted poster.
No,
Is that
if
what
Yeah.
you look in the front, there's like a
The new
picture
one.
of him. The new one, yeah, when they redid it.
Yeah.
That wasn't a cover story. It's reasonable that you don't remember that.
Okay.
Don't feel bad about it, is what I'm trying to say.
And Zev
I've
had a
stopped
whole
feeling
thing.
bad about not knowing things about One Piece.
Well,
I would feel bad all the time.
I know, to be fair, so would everyone. I mean,
All right.
Stephen here.
Yeah, let's go to the next one from Alan or Aleni, who says, "Hey OPP, I've been watching various episodes of the anime for the first time recently, and some friends have expressed interest in hopping on the One Piece train. I asked the Discord community this, but I'd love to pose it to you all. What would be one single episode of One Piece you'd show someone so they understand the appeal? In the case of my friend, he tends to latch onto big emotional moments over battles, but he appreciates them both. Much appreciated and keep up the good work."
Or the scene with the X's from Alabasta.
That's a good one.
For me, for me, I always go with the fourth episode, which is the first chapter of the manga, where we find out how Luffy got his straw hat. I think that is a really good. I think that's a really good encapsulation of the series just as a whole. But maybe I'm just
I think
a basic bitch.
the Walk on Arlong Park is another popular one
Or
for
if you're
that.
just trying to wow them with action, they could watch episode 325, which is Ace versus Blackbeard in a one-on-one battle.
But none of those really have impact if you haven't watched everything.
I was gonna
or
say,
read
this
everything
is-
before.
Tough
No,
because everything builds.
Yes, sorry, Mel.
Except for Alex's, except for the basic bitch answer. That one
The
does.
basic
have
bitch
impact.
answer is the best one.
Yeah.
I do
Well,
want to say though, the
my
first
other-
It
scene I
actually is
ever,
the best one so far.
the way Ed introduced me to One Piece was the scene of Luffy beating Crocodile. Actually,
Mm,
I would
it also
never.
has good music.
yeah.
I know, but it did convince me.
No, it's great music. It's a great scene. It is a great scene. I really do love that one. But
Yeah.
the other episode that I was thinking about too was Zoro versus Mihawk, because I feel like we barely even know Zoro at that point, and it's a fun fight chapter, and he loses in a really dignified way, and it's really
Wait,
cool.
no, there's an obvious answer here that we're missing. The Gaimon episode.
Shut up.
Don't
Wow.
joke, because that's also a good one.
I think emotionally wise, again, it's hard because your friends said
The
that their
Gaimon
friends
one.
said they like emotionally. Yes, also Gaimon. But the friends said they like emotional moments. So it's hard because the emotional moments in One Piece are earned. Like you have
Yeah.
to be able to
Like,
get
you
to
can't
them.
just show someone Luffy breaking Arlong Park.
Exactly,
build up
because
to
there's
that.
not me saying help, but without understanding that, it doesn't hit. And then there's also, in my opinion, Sanji on the rock and his backstory. But that one personally just really choked me up. I didn't even like Sanji at that point. I'd like to state that. I just watched that and went, oh my god. But I think my controversial choice would probably be the ringing of the bell in Skypiea, because I'll never forget that. That really choked me up. But that's because of everything we saw beforehand.
Everything
so I
came
think
before, yeah.
exactly. So the emotional aspect is you have to tell your friend, listen, it's emotional, but you got to work for it.
Well,
You gotta get
that's
to
why
it.
that's why you start with the fourth episode,
beginning.
because it's
Yeah.
that has so much emotional resonance to it. It has great music cues. It's got really great acting. It tells you the beginning of what the story is, and it has a bunch of really great lines and speeches that encapsulate what the series is.
I'll
I'm
do a
trying to-
plug for the article I was quoted in for BBC, and that he asked me that. I don't think my full answer without with full context was there, but I think it got across that I'm like, look, I used to be the person who's like, you gotta just find the fun scenes, and if that's what gets them into it, just get them through the series. But now I'm like, no, you need everything, because everything builds off of the thing before it. Like you cannot skip anything in One Piece and really get the ideal experience. And also, why would you want to? In retrospect, at least.
Like, I would personally say Sanji's Luffy, I want to go back to the Sunny. What's the point of that if you don't even know Sanji and you don't even know Luffy? So you really do need everything in context.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I have a cheat answer that I'm still not actually confident in, because I still went into each of these things with the context of, reading the series. But it's like One Piece films 6, 9, or Z, maybe.
True.
Z probably not. Z less so, but films 6 and 9 maybe could work in some capacity.
Badam
as
Omatsuri
standalone.
could 100% work. I watched that with my friend who's never seen One Piece, and it choked her up.
But also,
like nothing
does
else.
it encapsulate?
But it's
One
a
Piece?
bad
I don't know.
example.
Doesn't
It
It might
is.
be.
problem.
It might be.
It is.
Yeah.
Movie
It's
9
a good movie, but it might be a bad example.
The ninth one though is good. That's the Chopper What If. That
Yeah.
tells a really
Nine is
great.
a good. 9 is a good movie. I only watched
Yeah.
it when it was officially released recently.
It's
I
good
wish they
looking
made
too.
more What If One Piece movies.
Yeah,
No, they won't.
I want to. I've said this before, and it's been a while because this was a long time ago now. But if they made that Hungry Days AU movie
Into
a
something,
movie or
right?
something,
Yeah,
I'm
God,
still
I'm
like
desperate
upset
for
that
that.
that's. Yeah, I want more of like the Straw Hats if they were space pirates, or the Straw Hats if they were in high school. Well, they have the series. I wouldn't be surprised if they made an adaptation of that, but
I
we'll
think that
see.
ship has sailed. Honestly,
You think?
yeah, they would have done it years ago when those commercials were catching fire.
No, not the Hungry Days. I know that ship has sailed. I meant the high school, the One Piece high school spin-off series that exists. in
Oh.
manga,
The One Piece
Yeah,
movie.
I
which I have not read because it's not available anywhere here. legally. And I don't care enough to try and not
Find
read
it.
legally.
Yeah, find it.
I
Yeah.
don't care. Anything else, Steven?
Matt C13 says, "Hey OPP, it seems that with the latest few installments of the cover story, it'll actually be centered around solving the mysterious abductions happening in Wano. Do you have any theories as to who is responsible for these sudden disappearances or what their motives could be? P.S. It's crazy that Usopp is already dead on Elbaf and the entire crew hasn't even made landfall yet. R.I.P. quote, brave warrior of the sea, unquote."
Not
I've
so
got a
brave
theory.
now. You're dead.
I've got a theory, and you're not going to like it.
You know.
Orochi is back.
I was thinking Orochi too.
Somehow Orochi returned. Yeah.
Yeah, that's. And I don't like it either because I like the idea that he died a fiery death.
Yeah.
Well, I
Right.
thought it could be Queen, but people were telling me Queen is like messed up somewhere because of the Suck Tree Man. I forget his name. I'm so sorry.
The suck tree man.
The tree guy.
Ryokugu, yeah.
Him, yeah.
Ryokugu.
So people were telling me Queen is just dead or something, but Queen was interested in women. They're stealing women, aren't they? Isn't that the implication? So
No,
I thought it might
what
have
about? But what's his face?
Minato.
Minato is a man. As far as we
okay.
know.
All right,
Oh.
so women are not being stolen.
Allegedly,
What
And
is?
this is also a cover story. I don't think it could be so heavy as to like,
Yeah.
oh, it's Orochi. It's gonna be something that's like a misunderstanding. I feel like.
I don't know if
Um,
I agree with that. We've seen
well,
lots
that's
of
fine.
villains who we just don't know. Like CP9's cover like stories and all that stuff. Like that's we've seen people just. Kind of...
You couldn't
Show
pay me
up.
to tell you what happens in that.
It
I
could
have
be.
No,
No
but I'm just
memory
saying.
of that
I'm
one.
saying like plot relevant things do happen.
Yeah, it can.
No,
happen.
I
we saw
know.
Garp in a cover story.
No, I know. I mean, I just don't think it's not going to be so emotionally weighty.
dramatic,
I think is
yeah.
what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
I,
mean-
guess if Orochi returned, it would be
Right, exactly.
more significant than that.
My biggest thought is because Mads has come back through Judge and Caesar. I was thinking maybe this is connecting to Queen to bring Queen back to Mads as well, but I just don't know. People keep telling me Queen's dead. So
I
I'll
don't
believe
think
them.
Mads would be a good cover story.
Yeah, they're married now, so
I don't
Judge
think
and-
that. I don't
Judge
think
and
that
Caesar?
Queen
Yeah.
is dead. I thought that Queen got arrested with King, and they're
that's what I thought.
Something
as
like
well.
that. I've been told he's just been removed from the area.
Don't we see King in one of the announcement thing? Like, don't we see? We saw King.
we
actually.
we
saw-
saw King
during the
reacting to some of the
Vegapunk,
news, the Vegapunk news.
Where
and
was?
When he
I
mentioned
don't think we saw where
rare
he was
species.
though. Right?
Well,
Yeah,
no, we didn't.
not from what I can recall.
So, you know, Jammer, you did bring up a good point about the cover stories. Well, just bringing up the CP9 one. So in that one and the Django one, and you know, I guess the Hachi one too, they just introduced new
And
characters.
Buggy.
Buggy to a degree, but
True.
they've introduced
The
new
King.
characters in those that like show up, like the Eureka Pirates or like the fucking Candy Hair Pirates or whatever the fuck.
Mhm.
You know, for our cover story character to just beat up. So I feel like
It could
There's-
just be a guy.
it could just be a guy.
Maybe all the girls have been abducted by Oolong. He's got them being pampered at his secret lair.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
What a reference. What a
That
Or-
is a
or-
reference.
Or maybe Odin has come back from the dead and stole women again.
Or maybe it's his
Again.
ghost.
Maybe it was Yamato the whole time doing it.
It was Yamato the whole time.
They're
It was
chasing
right in
him-
front of our
chasing
face.
us
Wow.
around. Yeah. They're not being
He does
stolen,
that.
they're being whisked away.
You know, it's really funny. Really, literally last week, I was trying to remember. I was like, what was that? The manga where that person was capturing these girls and they ended up being really spoiled and annoying, and I couldn't for the life of me place it.
It was
Thank you
Dragon
so
Ball.
much.
Yep.
Yeah, it was Dragon
Yes.
Ball. I was just like, thank you. That was bothering me last week. I'm happy that I've had some
Okay.
closure on that.
There you go. And speaking of closure, we'll close the subreddit archipelago with the comment from 23 Years Version, who says, "Hey OPP, seeing as there is a new member in the Elders, what do you think Garling's main role will be? For me, it will be someone efficient. They couldn't handle a young pirate. Well, you'll see. I'll take matters into my own hands," or something like that. Also,
His
how
first step is always violence.
yeah. Also, how cool is Sanji's outfit? It makes me want to see different outfits of these Straw Hats throughout the eras, like Ancient Greece, Baroque era. Here it counts as medieval, 70s, gangsters, and pirates. Cheers and keep up the good work.
Well, they had that. They had the Yakuza time where they all dressed like Yakuza. They had Yakuza hair.
Yeah,
Love
I
that
mean,
one.
I feel like that tends to be like the color spreads.
Color spreads.
Yeah, when he can just.
You know, I
take a
forgot
theme
to
and run with
mention, this chapter is like a hybrid of that Viking color spread from, which I post on our Discord. The Viking color spread from, is that Ennius Lobby or Thriller Bark? And the Lego one from right after the time skip, I think. It was just the Viking one popped into my brain immediately because it's like almost the same poses. If you haven't seen that one, you could probably just Google Viking One Piece color spread and find that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was chapter 446. Thriller Bark, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I think as far as Garling goes, I think he's there to get them out of that chamber. He's the guy who's going to go actually do stuff. Since they prefer to hang out in there. That's what I assume. But that is all for Reddit.
Ed, are you ready? It's time.
Time to piece the tweet. There you go. It's piece the tweet time, everybody. We're back again. All right, so first one this week comes from Kat Cameron, who says, "Do you think Nami having Zeus/weather abilities will get her some kind of notoriety in Elbaf, considering their culture with gods? And will she get a Viking girlfriend for the arc? She looks so cute in this chapter. Orange heart. Emoji.
This is a very good look.
Yeah. And as we said, her hair looks great too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Nami can handle a Viking girlfriend. It's too big.
Too big.
Okay.
Climbing her like a tree. Yeah.
That's what that is what Luffy said when he saw the giants for the first time. He said too big.
Yes.
That's an actual fact. I'm not making a joke.
Big.
I do like the idea that Nami could impress them with weather powers and be worshipped like a god. I think she'd love that too much.
But her only weather power is striking people with lightning.
And predicting the weather as she was introduced originally.
Yeah.
And somehow
Originally, the
managed to
climate
sink
attack did a
that
lot
little
of other
boat.
things.
Yeah.
Besides lightning.
It should technically still do a bunch of other stuff, but I guess she's the lightning witch.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I gotta wonder what is going to impress the giants, because for all we know, Usopp doing like the thumb trick is going to make them go, "Whoa!" You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
The Sky Pier with the rubber, I think,
Exactly,
the thing that pops into
right?
my head. That
So who knows what impresses the giants? But also, I've just had a thought here that Usopp is quite literally called, God Usopp. Is he gonna have? Is that name going to have a something to play with this arc? Since they're apparently god-centered on this island, so maybe they found out he's God Usopp and go, "Whoa, we didn't know we had a god in the midst."
Yeah,
The god of lying.
very god coded.
Right, the next one comes from Gabriel9, who says, "Hi, OPP. We learned even giant Lego pieces hurt to step on. None are safe. My question is, if you all use a human shield, which fellow podcast member would you throw in front like Usopp?
Oh Christ!
Wouldn't it be Steve?
Wow.
He is very large. He'd be a very
Yeah, that's all
effective
pro
shield.
Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
You know
effective.
what? Steve could do it for all of us. We could all be behind. and
Yeah.
it'd be fine. Yeah, maybe not
Sorry,
Steven.
Steve.
You're like 6 foot, right?
He can't stop all
The
of
rest
us
of us.
together.
Yeah. Sorry, Steve. You're
Yeah.
the meat shield.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that was an easy answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one comes from NB's Lobby, who says, "Where is Chopper? Perhaps being inducted into his new role as the raccoon god." Not a raccoon. Look, he's got antlers.
That would be pretty good if they call him the raccoon god.
Thinking the same thoughts.
He'd get really pissed. The Tanuki god,
What if Luffy wants to eat Chopper again? He's like, "Oh, we just ate a rabbit.
Oh,
We're
then
gonna
we
skip
know
the cat, going straight
no
to the
cats.
rescue
Really
of the
Luffy.
raccoon."
no cats, but I will eat my crew member.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't realize
Emergency
it at the
food
time for
supply.
some reason. He's like, "No, that's not Chopper. Chopper is with everyone else back at the ship. This is clearly a different one. Him I can eat." And I've
This is
always
getting
wondered.
Confusing. What's next, Ed?
Next one comes from Joyo Boyo Gomu, who says, "What's your prediction for how long Elbaf will be this time? We assumed Egghead would be as short as Zoe, but we were horribly wrong. Make your guesses.
were.
Winner gets to host the podcast, right?
Are we doing this now? Is it too early to do this? Like,
It's chapter 1. This is the time to do it.
okay. We're doing the prediction. So, for those who don't know,
Who won the last one? Was it you, Zach?
no. Brodsky got it on the nose.
Yeah.
What? Really?
Although it was our second round of guesses.
It was our second round of guesses. We all guessed
short.
under. Yeah, we were all short, so we had to do it again. So for those who don't know, at the beginning of every arc since, I think we've been doing it since like Whole Cake Island, we try and guess the chapter when we think it will end. So far, I think our winners, I know Jill won, I think, Whole Cake Island. Who the hell won Wano? I really don't remember. It was probably me. I think it was. And then, as I said, Brodsky won Egghead. So we gotta go around the horn and see when you think it's gonna end. To remind people, this is chapter 1127. You could use whatever reasoning you want. I'll start with Steven.
I'm going to say, okay, so we're at 1127. I'm going to guess 1195.
Oh, wow.
1195.
Cool.
Ed?
I don't think this is going to go 50 chapters, so we're at 1127 now. I think 1175.
Wow.
Alex?
How many chapters did Egghead last?
63.
I don't know. This is Elbaf. I'm gonna say 127. I'm gonna say 11. 1184.
1184?
Yeah.
Mel, do you have a prediction?
I was going to say in the 1190s. I think this is going to be a big fat arc.
Do you have a specific number?
God, I don't know. 1199.
Jammer?
I'm going with 1177 for a specific reason. So I'm thinking 50 chapters based on the fact that this is an arc that's been teased for a long time. And the last arc that was teased for a long time was about 50 chapters. And that was Fishman Island. So there we go.
What are you talking about? Wano?
Oh, I forgot about that. Just ignore that one.
It's like 150 chapters long.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Wano, no, that was a whole separate manga. You're wrong.
To be fair.
Hold on.
So, first of all, I don't want to win this contest, but I'm going to still be a little genuine here. I agree with Mel and Steven. I think this is going to be a meteor one. I'm going to say everyone's going to hate this. 1227. I think we're getting another Dressrosa sized one here.
I was thinking about the 12s, but I didn't want to be crazy.
I don't mind losing, so I will be risky with it. Curious what the rest of the crew is going to say in the coming weeks and months, probably. 1227 would take us into like 2027, though, right? Or 2026?
Good.
Yeah. So that prediction about when One Piece ends is going to once again be shaky. Unless this is the final arc and we're currently entering it.
Give us another 5 years, Oda.
Definitely going to happen. Any other questions, Ed?
No, that's it.
Okay. That'll do it for Piece Together. Let's round off the show. This has been the One Piece podcast for September 23rd, 2024. Thanks, everyone, for being on. This was another fun one. I am very curious what this arc is going to look like. I always love the beginnings of arcs when you don't know what the hell is going on and you're trying to figure
We really
out.
don't know what's going on here.
We really don't know what's going on. Underline. It's the Island of Mystery, or the Adventure in a Land of Mystery, or whatever it was. We have a couple cool weeks coming up with some really good guests. We have an SGS next week. If you skip the SGS for some reason, if you skip the off weeks, you're really missing out. Steven here, as you know, is the official translator for One Piece and Weekly Shonen Jump and Manga Plus. I have to say the full thing. And Greg is is one of the series advisors on the live action One Piece series.
And the
He
columnist for
also-
the official website.
Yeah, and
Indeed.
works closely with Oda on things, I assume. Probably. And the week after that, we have the ADR director for One Piece. Currently, the Egghead stuff, Emily Fajardo, is back on the show.
Cool.
Yeah. We have Cone Skullmandible from who has been on before, coming again. And we also have Anthony Bowling at the end of October, the now former ADR director who did Wano and perhaps others before. I forget if he did any arcs before that, because it's a blur. They really went fast. They just caught up, basically. So check that all out as it comes out. We have, the manga's chugging along. It's what am I even saying? I don't even know. Steven, where could good people find you?
If you'd like to follow my posting online, it is over at Blue Sky at stephenpaul.bsky.social. We mentioned it on the show. I have been doing a 3-chapter-a-day reread of the series, which is just getting into Zoe now. So that's been a lot of fun. And every now and then I do post a funny little picture or something that crosses my mind. So if you'd like to check that out, you can do so over there on the Blue Sky.
Thank you. Mel, where can people find you?
You can find me on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, all on at MelonTeee, spelt with 3 E's, not tree. And I'm also doing my rereads on Twitch as well, as I'm making an Alabaster video. And every new chapter, I also do a stream to talk about the new chapter as well, if you want to see me over there.
I was right. I knew you did a Twitch.
Yes.
I'm just not on Twitch very often is the problem. But yeah, I'm very excited to check out the Alabasta stuff too.
It's going to be a while.
Oh, I get it. I'm not expecting it immediately, but I'm excited still. Nonetheless, Jammer, where can people find you and your work?
You can find me on pretty much all social medias under AJ Cerna Writer. So yeah, my pet name is AJ Cerna. You can find those on Amazon or BarnesandNoble.com over.
I thought you said pet name. And
pen name.
I heard it too.
Pen
Okay,
name. Not
thank
pet
you,
name
Stephen.
too. But yeah, you can check out if you like YA epic fantasy. I do that. One of my series, City of Mages, just had its sequel come out last month, I think it was. So if you're interested in so far 2-book series, check it out.
Awesome. And it's weird to say like I'm proud of you, but it's awesome to see you flourishing in that
Thank you.
genre and medium. My brain has left my body. I've been up since 5. So although Mel, I guess, has a better excuse than me if that were the case.
How dare
but I'm
you.
not ready to eat cats yet because
Work
Alex,
it.
where can people find you? I'm sorry, Mel.
That's okay.
Well, speaking of eating cats, you can find me on the planet Melmac, where I'll be chilling out with my buddy Alf, wishing that we could go to Earth and chow down on some feline friends.
Is Nemo there listening to this right now?
Yeah. Don't tell my cat, Nemo. No, you can find me on Twitter at Dude Exclamation. I'm also on Blue Sky. I don't really post too much, but social media sort of given me a little bit of a bleh these days. So follow me, I guess, if you're not already doing that. If you're in the Washington, D.C. area within the next month or so, from September 27th to November 2nd, every weekend we're running a show called POTUS Among Us. I will be in it, basically poking fun at elections. It's very fun. And follow Super Art Fight. Coming to a city near you, probably.
Ed, where could people find you?
Sure. I am still on Twitter at twitter.com/EdwardE1Piece. I'm on Blue Sky at edwarde.bsky.social. And I still have my old alt Twitter account, the Weeb Trailers account, for interesting anime trailers that I find on old DVDs. So check that out.
Thanks, Ed.
Yeah.
You can find me on Blue Sky at zach.onepiecepodcast.com. You can find us at our website, onepiecepodcast.com, Twitter, Facebook, which I've been trying to post on, Instagram, not TikTok. We're not there yet.
YouTube.
YouTube.com/onepiecepodcast. We have the latest episodes on there, and twitch.tv/onepiecepodcast. We have I'd be remiss if we did not plug Donnie and Joe and a whole crew of folks playing games every week, not One Piece related usually, but we have good people on our crew, and please check that out. And patreon.com/onepiecepodcast. Please check us out there. Or you could call us at our phone number that we won't answer. That's 347-497-MAJI. That phone number again, 347-497-6254. Call anytime, unless with your questions, comments, and theories, unless you are the ASPCA. We'll see you next week with an all-new episode. My name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
And my name is Alex.
We'll see you next week, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cats are friends, not food.
Actually, that's a good title.
That's right, Bruce.